Deadman and the Daredevil. The inside story of Mick Foley's 1998 cage match with Mark "The Undertaker" Calhoun is one of the greatest legends in modern wrestling. Foley, performing as Mankind, has taken ridicule for his physique and lack of scientific skill. When meeting The Undertaker in Pittsburgh, he was determined to make an impression. Calhoun asked Foley to stop the match several times. Mick dove from the top of the cage into a table, then fell through the metal following a vicious choke and body slam. You can see Calhoun break character walking past a bloodied and prone Foley, checking to make sure his opponent is still alive. Mankind left on a stretcher, but returned smiling through busted teeth, a moment that would cement his iconic status. Number 3. Walls of Jericho collapsed. Chris Jericho is in a TV match against Benjamin Neville Satterley in early 2016. Satterley suffers an unexpected ankle injury. Footage reveals a conversation between the two wrestlers, Satterley telling Jericho, "I'm hurt," and Jericho attempting a face-saving finish. But the referee, Charles Robinson, refuses to count out Neville since it's not the planned ending of the match. "He's hurt," screams Jericho at Robinson, and the two almost come to blows. Some would later criticize Jericho for striking an employee when it wasn't in the script, but the star isn't totally flipping. The clever shove gives Robinson a chance to ring the bell before Satterley's injury can get any worse. Number 2. Hogan's a hero. Wrestlers pride themselves on working an audience, whether their job is to make people cheer or boo. But an aging Hulk Hogan, returning to Toronto for a WrestleMania 18 clash with The Rock, couldn't make the fans dislike him despite playing the role of villain. "I tried everything, whipped him with a belt like a dog," complained Hogan later, but nothing worked. Toronto cheered his every move. Like two old pros, the performers agreed in secret during the match. The Rock would begin playing a bad guy while Hogan would portray his all-American character. The switch went without a hitch, with the crowd none the wiser. Number 1. Say hello to the bad guys. In the early 90s, TV wrestling was extremely milquetoast. Cowboy villains such as Wild Bill Irwin were about as edgy as things ever got. Enter Scott Hall. Hall wrestled as Razor Ramon, marketed to children as a Cuban strongman who foiled their favorite hero, and occasionally beat up bad guys too. Except Hall was doing what great artists do: hiding a secret in plain sight. Razor Ramon was based on Tony Montana, the cocaine-dealing protagonist of Scarface. From swaggering, slow-drawl interviews to silk pants, Razor was Tony, the drug lord. Even his logo, shown above the ring before matches, looks like a glass utensil for dividing coke. Hall was ahead of his time. Soon, alcohol-swilling bad boys like Stone Cold Steve Austin would come to dominate TV wrestling. And there, you have 5 WWE secrets caught on camera inside the ring. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Man has always been horrified by the uncanniness that mutations can create. It may look human, but you may still ask yourself, is it? Whether it's a baby born with cyclopia or an animal born with 2 heads, these occasions have always been omens, signs of bad things to come. But what are we really scared of? How would you feel if you saw a mutant, and what do you think its appearance would mean? These are 5 mutants caught on camera and spotted in real life. Let's begin. Number 5. Mutant in Portuguese desert. This strange creature was found in a desert in Portugal, where it was recorded by witnesses. At first glance, this creature may appear to resemble a man, but upon closer inspection, it looks very different and almost animalistic. The tan creature appears tall, with incredibly long arms that end in muscular shoulders. It slouches as it walks and almost looks like a classic interpretation of a caveman or Neanderthal. Just what is this creature and what's it doing there? It may be an undiscovered anthropoid cryptic, or it may have more terrifying human roots. Could it be that this creature is a human being mutated by inbreeding, a disease, or exposure to dangerous material? We may never know. Number 4. Mutant found dead on road. While man has always experimented with their food supply to create bigger stocks that taste better, it wasn't until recently that man decided to play God by directly altering the genotype of any specific creature. Of course, the technology was never available to us until now. It's known that companies such as Monsanto perform potentially dangerous experiments to alter the DNA of plants using animal materials. Could it be possible that a company has transcended legality in order to produce a more perfect meat? It seems so based on this video, which seems to capture a strange, pig-like creature which has been branded and inspected. Number 3. Mutant in sewer. There's something unsettling about sewers, bathrooms, outhouses, or anywhere that nature calls. We understand instinctively that feces poses great danger to ourselves, and thus we avoid it, and if technology allows, we send it away using sewer systems. Not everyone is afraid of it though. There have been recorded instances of camps springing up in sewers hidden beneath cities where the vagrant and outcasts know they will not be bothered. In some cities that are hundreds, if not 1,000 years old, how far back could these societies go, and what strange mutations might generations of exposure cause? This strange humanoid creature found in one sewer may show us. Number 2. Mutant pig. Not all mutations are caused by exposure. Most are merely products of genetic chance, producing losers of a genetic lottery doomed to live short lives defined by suffering. This piglet is one such beast. This pig was bred in China, where people immediately noticed its horrifying face. The face of the poor creature has been compared to that of a man's because of its flat profile and strange nose that some have compared to a penis. Due to the strange shape of its face, it seems to struggle for breath as its tongue hangs out of its misshapen mouth, opening its mouth wide to take in breaths in what can be described as a noiseless scream. Truly, nature's fail-safes weren't good enough for this piglet. Number 1. Mutant animal in Chernobyl. The Chernobyl disaster was the single largest nuclear disaster in the world's recorded history. If you're unfamiliar with it, here's a quick refresher. In 1986, a nuclear reactor in the Soviet Union began to fail during a safety test. Several design flaws in the plant caused it to malfunction, resulting in an explosion and several fires that spread dangerous radioactive material around the area in what is now Ukraine. While many speculative works, such as the Stalker franchise, explore the idea of Chernobyl as a nuclear wasteland full of morbid, mutated monsters, the Chernobyl site is in fact quite idyllic. If you had no idea, you'd never be able to tell it apart from any other forest, until you succumb to radiation poisoning. There are some mutants though, such as this strange, headless or necklace creature running free through the forest, safe until man returns to reclaim what was lost and build anew. And there, you have 5 mutants caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. A miracle is an event not explainable by natural or scientific laws. This miraculous event is thought to be the doing of a higher being or just a magical or unexplainable occurrence. Godly or not, there are indeed some things that science just can't explain. So here's our list of the top 5 miracles caught on camera and spotted in real life. Let's begin. Number 5. The Good Book. Old-timers will tell you, keep the Bible at your side and you'll always be okay. But they might add, everything else could be completely screwed. In this video, a man and his Bible are the only survivors from a burning Jeep. The Jeep went ablaze once it hit a pole on an exit ramp. Witnesses state that the Jeep was sideswiped by another car that pushed it down the hill and straight into the pole. 3 civilians and a canine officer ran from their vehicles to help the man, cutting the steering wheel and seatbelt to free him. Once the fire was put out, the only recovered item was the Bible sitting on the front seat and no scorch marks were on it. Number 4. Baby, you're alive. A baby girl from the Philippines was suffering from a high fever, and even the hospital didn't know how to treat it. On a gloomy Saturday morning, the hospital informed her parents of the child's death. Heartbroken, the family prepared the girl in a coffin for burial. But just as a neighbor of the family opened the coffin to care for the body, he saw it move. The parents immediately took the little girl out of the casket and wrapped her in a warm towel. As she returned to health, her survival was taken by Filipinos as a sign from God. Number 3. Oil's well that ends with your donation. Prophet Shepherd Bushiri is a well-known Christian and also one of the richest men in South Africa. Like many modern American pastors, he believes that living the good life is an inspiration from God. But one controversial aspect of the sainted man involves his filming of alleged miracles. In this video, the prophet sets out to show the African people another of God's miracles, the heavenly oil on their hands. The people put out their hands and listen to his prayer. A little further into the video, you can see the people's hands getting glossier and glossier, and in a close-up, there's evidence of the oil on their hands. How about it, folks? Is Bushiri a charlatan or a genuine miracle worker? Number 2. Biloxi Blow-Up. On the road to Biloxi, Mississippi, a stray car hits a massive truck and a fiery explosion rains over the road. This footage was captured by David Fredrickson's dashcam. He stopped his truck and immediately got out to help. He ran towards the burning car and, to his surprise, he saw a little girl's head pop out of the back window. He got to the front door and saw the immovable body of an old woman. Somehow managing to open the door as others arrived, David and a group of Good Samaritans saved the little girl and presumably her grandmother. David later told reporters that he believes he was put at the scene by God. Number 1. I, Jesus. The statue of Jesus Christ in the chapel of Saltillo, Mexico has been caught on camera opening its eyes. In the darkened chapel, you can see that the Jesus statue is motionless before suddenly opening its eyes for a few seconds, then closing them. As usual, the church itself disavows any claim that this is a real-life religious miracle. But video engineers have said there is no way that the footage could have been faked. And there, you have 5 miracles caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Mothman is a legendary paranormal creature that was popularized by a rash of sightings in the years leading up to the unexpected collapse of the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. These aren't the only ones we know about either. In 2015, a video surfaced that suggested Mothman even inhabits parts of Argentina. This was later found to be a hoax perpetuated by locals looking for their 15 minutes of fame, so we decided to find 5 Mothmen caught on camera and spotted in real life to present you with all the facts. Let's begin. Number 5. Point Pleasant Silver Bridge Collapse. This event that took place in 1967 solidified Point Pleasant as a well-known Mothman habitat. In the few years prior to this enormous event, Mothman sightings had been reported, with one man suggesting that the creature had probably killed his dog after being chased off his property by the unfortunate pup. Whether or not that account is true, the Mothman that was seen around the bridge right before it was collapsed was confirmed to be legitimate by dozens of witnesses. The bridge collapsed during rush hour traffic and was an incredibly tragic accident. 46 people lost their lives when they were plunged into the river below, along with tons of metal and concrete. When the cause of the bridge collapse was investigated, it was found that the entire failure was caused by a single weak link. Amazingly, the constant Mothman sightings that locals had been reporting in huge numbers suddenly stopped after the bridge failed, with none seen in the area for the next couple of decades. This fact was not lost on those who witnessed the event, who said at the time that the failure could not have been mere coincidence. This led many more to believe that the Mothmen were either bringers of doom, with misery following their every move, or sympathetic beings trying to warn us of imminent danger, fueling the legend behind their mysterious appearances. Many people have had run-ins and close encounters with these creatures, but they have never been known to kill a person, which suggests that they are probably benevolent protectors just trying to give us a heads up when something's about to go awry. Number 4. I-35W Bridge Collapse. It seems that these creatures seem to have a soft spot for bridge disasters. Possibly it's because they feel more in their element when it comes to structures that have a little height to them. We're talking about a winged creature here. Whatever the reason, many people had reported seeing a mysterious and strange bird in the area of the bridge in the month leading up to the collapse. When the bridge gave way, it broke apart right in the middle, making it a very serious disaster. Much like the Silver Bridge collapse in '67, this incident took place during rush hour traffic. 13 people died, and a total of 145 people were seriously injured in the fall. As always, skeptics argued that it was probably a crane that people had seen. Everyone who saw the creature says that there's absolutely no denying what it was. The enormous creature had very human characteristics, and the fact that so many sightings preceded such a tragic catastrophe is a clear sign that paranormal forces were at work. Furthermore, this follows suit with what we have begun to learn about Mothman sightings, namely that these creatures may not be malicious or evil, but instead try to warn us away from imminent danger. Until more people take these sightings seriously, many preventable disasters are likely to be overlooked. It was said that nobody could have predicted that the I-35W bridge would collapse in such a spectacular fashion, but we're sure that the Mothman seen in the month leading up to it was desperately trying to warn us. The main problem with people today is that we're no longer in touch with the paranormal or mysterious happenings around the globe. Since we're so out of touch with these things, we are effectively blinded to the signs that are literally right in front of our eyes, more willing instead to dismiss outright the existence of such fantastic creatures. Number 3. West Virginia State Route 2 sighting. This sighting in West Virginia occurred in 2016 when a man spotted something strange darting from tree to tree on the side of the road. The photographer did not give his name, but said that he was driving home on State Route 2 when he noticed the strange sight. He was aware of the stories of the Mothman, but said he hadn't given it much thought before then. He realized right away that this creature was too large to be a heron or other such bird. The man captured some pretty amazing shots, assuming this is a Mothman and not just a camera trick. Experts have looked over the photos and say that they haven't been doctored. Many suggested that it was probably a heron, but admitted that they had their doubts. The size and position of the creature don't line up with what we know about the form of birds in flight. We can also clearly see that the head and legs aren't bird-like at all. In fact, it looks more like a human in a wingsuit, except for the fact that it was able to fly upwards as well as gliding. Even the world's most impressive jetpack technology is nowhere near that good yet, and would have made a hell of a lot of racket. And all this is forgetting the fact that gliders, wingsuit experts, and jetpack users would all be very aware of the inherent dangers of flitting around trees. Basically, that's a no-no. That really narrows down the list of what this thing could possibly be. We're convinced that this case at least deserves a thorough investigation. The area is famous for its previous Mothman sightings, although they've been less numerous in recent decades, and we do know that the creature is known to prefer the woodlands if it can help it. Perhaps human encroachment on their habitat is forcing these mythical beasts into the open more often than they'd like. Either way, we hope that this sighting wasn't the premonition of some terrible disaster yet to happen. Given that it happened last year, we think that we're probably in the clear, for now. Then again, quite a large number of sightings have preceded their apparent disasters by months, so it could be that this entity was just a little more ahead of the game than most. Number 2. New York Backyard Close Call. This footage was supposedly captured in 2011 in Comac, New York. The kid who posted the video said that he was playing with his friend in his backyard when the two of them suddenly noticed a strange figure watching them from high up in a tree. I think panic would be a good word to describe the emotion that he probably felt. The creature was said to have piercing red eyes and remained motionless for a second or two before swooping down towards the boys. One managed to get his iPod out to take a picture just as his friend took off running. The running boy was close to the back porch of his friend's house, and he seemed convinced that he could make it to safety. Interestingly, the boys say that the creature, which looks unmistakably like a Mothman, actually flew directly towards his friend in the manner that an eagle would descend on its prey. Given what we know about the history of Mothman, this seems out of character. It could be that the boys mistook an attempt to help as an attack. What we do know is that they both claimed Running Kid ducked at the last second, narrowly missing being struck. We don't doubt that this was potentially a proper Mothman sighting, but the facts do seem a little off. Some people throughout history have been terrified of anything mysterious or unexplainable, even when they're being helped. It's in our nature to fear the unknown after all, and it is very much a basic survival instinct. We haven't yet heard of any deaths attributed directly to the Mothman, although another set of witnesses have also claimed that they were the victims of an unnervingly close flyby, with two couples being chased down Highway 62 back in 1966. Again, nobody was hurt, but the entire group was quite visibly shaken when they gave their report to the police. One of the women involved, Linda Scarberry, said that it stood about 7 feet tall, but couldn't guess its wingspan because it had both folded behind its back. She also noted fiery red eyes that seemed to burn with intensity, and that the creature was muscle-bound almost from head to toe. Not many people have been able to give such a detailed account, as Mothmen do seem to be shy. This unexplained behavior could be due to any number of reasons, but it is telling that nobody has yet been hurt during any face-to-face encounter. Number 1. Chernobyl Disaster Mystery Figure. Now, this last one is really freaky. Given that the Russian government is so secretive, it comes as no surprise that this story was almost buried completely. It turns out that locals residing in the area surrounding the town of Chernobyl were sworn to silence on pain of death about the events leading up to the now infamous meltdown. Evidently, authorities didn't want the word to get out that they could have prevented such a horrible loss of human life, as well as untold suffering spanning generations. What we have learned is that a creature that fits the Mothman's description perfectly was repeatedly spotted flying over the town and around the plant in the weeks leading up to the disaster. Those who saw it quickly dubbed it the Black Bird of Chernobyl, and residents made numerous complaints and reports regarding this creature. What makes this tale even more strange is that the government actually seemed to be aware of what was going on, but insisted it was no big deal. In fact, people were threatened and harassed with strange phone calls that repeatedly insisted that they were liars and would be punished. It is clear that there was a purposeful cover-up going on before the nuclear plant actually failed, although the full reach might be forgotten forever by now. With so many reports, why did the government refuse to investigate this matter any further? Additionally, why were those who tried to raise the alarm so immediately and viciously silenced? As with most things that happened before the Iron Curtain at the time, we'll probably never know the answers to these questions. What is clear is that these leaks prove that the Mothman really is a global phenomenon. It's also worth considering that while their habitat is known to be in and around the Americas, the space available to them is rapidly shrinking. Perhaps they're simply migrating to avoid detection, which would explain their resurgence in recent years. Another theory is that the Mothman originated in and around Eastern Europe, with some finding their way across an ancient glacial land bridge that once connected the two continents. If the Mothman is really a protector of humankind, it wouldn't be too far of a stretch to assume that they would have followed us to the New World all that time ago. In fact, it could theoretically be possible that they actively helped our ancestors back then to a degree that we couldn't even begin to think possible today. And there, you have 5 Mothman caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Native Americans have believed in the power of the Wendigo for many generations. Many accounts tell of victims begging to be killed before they turn. Wendigo psychosis has a wealth of evidence to support it. Victims begin craving human flesh while simultaneously having a paranoid fear of becoming a cannibal themselves. The fact is that these creatures are real, and the damage they do can be catastrophic. We've found 5 Wendigo caught on camera and spotted in real life to help you decide for yourself what you think about this strange phenomenon. Let's begin. Number 5. Possible footage, 2013. When 2 friends decided to explore an abandoned cabin, they may have accidentally stumbled upon a fully turned Wendigo. Many of the stories that tell of Wendigo sightings or killings involve those who have recently succumbed to Wendigo psychosis or were so overcome with remorse that they were able to maintain a semblance of their humanity. The creature seen in this video looks very much like the real deal. Sometimes, if psychosis carries on long enough or a victim is weak enough when possessed, the victim can go through some startling changes. These descriptions vary from case to case, but most describe a large creature covered in short hair standing on 2 legs. What these kids saw was exactly that. Now, given the day and age, we think this video is probably pushing the boundaries of believability just a tad. The video effects and supposed problems are probably just editing tricks or extras making spooky noises. We're still not completely convinced about this one, but have to admit that it could very easily be real. What we do know is that the following stories aren't staged by bored kids for our general amusement. Given that Wendigo psychosis is a real phenomenon, we figured we'd give these kids the benefit of the doubt. Number 4. Swift Runner, 1879. It's interesting to note that the first legal execution that occurred in Alberta, Canada was actually a mistake. Unfortunately for the Cree trapper, who went by the name of Swift Runner, the government at the time couldn't quite comprehend what many people had already figured out. By the latter part of the 1800s and the first few decades of the 1900s, Wendigos were known to be real by the vast majority of Canadians. In northern Alberta at this time, there were a large number of grisly attacks and murders that shocked the province as well as rattling the entire nation. These were, by and large, considered to be examples of Wendigo psychosis. Settlers in Ontario had previously heard about these creatures, but they hadn't been seen out west in these numbers before, so little was known about them or how to protect oneself. Swift Runner's story was especially gruesome. At one point in 1879, he found his way to a Catholic mission in Edmonton, Alberta. Those who he met were shocked that he suffered constant nightmares whenever he slept. When he mentioned that he was the only member of his family who had survived starvation the previous winter, their shock became suspicious. Witnesses say the man was well fed and showed no signs of any malnutrition whatsoever. Upon further investigation, the police found that he had gruesomely murdered 8 family members one by one and ate them over the course of a few months when an especially harsh winter led to them almost starving. He still maintained his innocence, saying that he was possessed by a Wendigo. He recounted the experience and said he was extremely sorry for what he had done. The problem was that Wendigos craved human flesh, and well, he couldn't help himself. Every bite led him to need more and more, developing an insatiable hunger. We may never know exactly what made Swift Runner murder his family, but the evidence does point to Wendigo psychosis. Interestingly, this is the only case we were able to find that told of a Wendigo who was able to recall their experiences after the fact. Most of the time, the stories we hear come from Wendigo hunters, and the overwhelming majority of these involve these supposed victims begging for death death before they are fully turned. Number 3. Little Jack, 1894. A tale told by a trapper in Kenora, Ontario, which has been a well-known Wendigo hotspot throughout the past few centuries, concerns a hunting party that set out in 1894. Two of the men were tourists visiting from Chicago. The father and son duo, by the name of Sears, had traveled by train to Ontario in order to hunt for moose, although they both thought that they could do much better than a simple moose. They met up with a guide named Little Jack who offered to take them on an expedition through the area surrounding the Mattawa River. Little Jack was a local Algonquin and was known throughout the area as one of the best trackers around. His specialty was finding moose and other big game, so he was an obvious choice for the Sears. After a couple days of travel, the team entered Quebec. They had seen many moose, but both the Sears were hoping to head home with a more impressive trophy and opted to push further into the bush. Little Jack had heard of many bear sightings around a nearby lake, but also warned the foreigners that there had been further reports of a massive and unknown creature lurking there too. The pair assumed that their guide was being overly cautious, but agreed to a few basic rules that Little Jack insisted they adhere to. First, he stated that nobody should attempt to land at the northern or western edges of the lake, and that the two were to set up camp at predetermined locations. Their guide would then travel between the two regularly to ensure their safety, and all would leave long before sundown. He made it clear that both men were to stay put until it was time to leave. After an unsuccessful day, Little Jack approached Sears Sr. and told him to start packing up. It was then that he noticed Sears Jr. paddling across the lake. His father called to him, at which time Little Jack, suddenly frantic, barked at him to stay quiet. He then began furiously paddling towards Sears Jr., who had landed on the far bank. The Sears boy dashed into the woods after yelling that he had seen something large in the brush. Seconds later, the boy tore out of the trees and made it to his canoe before a massive creature standing on two legs leapt out and ripped his head off in one clean stroke. Horrified, Sears Sr. attempted to help, but was forced to leave by Little Jack. Jack explained later that the man's son had, unfortunately, been killed by a Wendigo. When news made its way back down south, the tone was understandably one of panic, although many simply couldn't believe it was true. Number 2. Jack Fiddler, 1907. Jack Fiddler was the chief and shaman of a particular subsect of the Gish-Kishigowan Dudum of the Anishinaabe tribe, known sometimes as the Sucker People. His attempted arrest by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and subsequent suicide made headlines back in 1907. The report that follows led to the insistence of the Canadian government that the tribe follow Canadian laws from then on. While the government claimed that Jack should be charged with murder, he and his people were adamant that the government had made a big mistake. At that time, the stories of the Wendigo had been morphed into urban legends, and the authorities of the day didn't believe in them anymore. Furthermore, at the time, Jack Fiddler and the Sucker People were one of the few remaining autonomous native tribes at the time, with almost all others previously being amalgamated into the greater nation of Canada. Jack had never shied away from his belief in Wendigos, and his community revered him as a masterful hunter of the strange creatures. He claimed to have killed 14 in total. Many of these were sent by the enemy, he claims, although he still had to end the lives of some of his own after they succumbed to the sickness. After he dispatched his brother's daughter-in-law, who was suffering from Wendigo psychosis, the RCMP rode over and demanded his surrender. Jack initially escaped, only to hang himself days later. His brother, Joseph, was sentenced to death for his complicity in the supposed crime. He pleaded that both he and his brother were always called upon by their people to help them euthanize the sick, as well as those under the effects of Wendigo psychosis, and that both were unaware of any Canadian laws. They had been observing a long-standing tradition that was absolutely crucial to the well-being of their tribe and had done nothing wrong. After a number of appeals, he was released, but the order was delayed and came late, 3 days after he was put to death. What is most disturbing is that the people of the time, both white and native, all knew about the threat of Wendigo psychosis. The Hudson Bay Company kept records of many such experiences, and all Canadians at the time knew of the rumors. Many of their people were turned when things went badly, and sometimes survivors were left to tell their stories, although not many were able to consider themselves that lucky. Number 1. Vince Lee, 2008. Considering the rest of our list is fairly outdated, this item may come as a bit of a shock to those who missed it. The mainstream media, while covering the story briefly, missed some obvious signs that Lee was under the influence of Wendigo psychosis when he completely lost his mind on a bus from Alberta to Manitoba. Lee, who delivered newspapers and worked at McDonald's, showed no previous signs of distress, and everyone who knew him said that he was a great guy, if somewhat quiet. Nobody could have prepared themselves for the scene that unfolded when Lee pulled out an immense hunting knife and began repeatedly stabbing 22-year-old Tim McLean, who was caught completely by surprise, powerless to stop his attacker. Lee supposedly stabbed McLean over 50 times, and one witness said that when he looked up, Lee had almost cut his victim's head clean off. The insane and rage-filled attack left everyone around him terrified, with nowhere to run except through the mayhem. What sets this story apart from most other brutal murders is that police found a bag in Lee's pocket after they arrested him that contained pieces of his victim's flesh, including part of his nose and ear. Curiously, Edmonton's local newspaper, the Edmonton Sun, had only 10 days prior published an article that contained an interview regarding Wendigo psychosis, adding an extra element to this mystery. What makes this tale even more depressing is that many of the other passengers on that bus have been irreparably damaged by the scene that unfolded. Lee's animal intensity and the brutal and vicious way he carried out the murder have haunted most, and they say they will never forget hearing Tim McLean scream. For his gruesome crime, Lee was sentenced to spend a year in a maximum security psychiatric facility, but was not charged with murder after he pled insanity. Indeed, after the attack started, the bus driver yelled at Lee to stop stabbing McLean. Lee, who was almost completely unresponsive during and after the attack, supposedly stopped and maintained his composure just long enough to cry out, "Get emergency!" before he was overcome once again. It seems like he must have been aware of what was happening, but completely unable to do anything about it. This marks one of the first documented Wendigo attacks in the better part of a century, and we can only hope that it was isolated. And there, you have 5 Wendigo caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out.
So how is it going, Top 5ers? Hope you're having a good damn day. You're probably asking yourself, or not, who the hell is this dude? Well, let me explain myself. But before that, I want to tell you that you need to stay till the end of this video because I'm going to be giving away a freaking iPhone 7. That's right. You look so fucking beautiful. And I will be giving away 5 to 10 Amazon $50 Amazon gift cards. So please stay till the end because I want to give out free money, damn it. I really want to give out to the people that has helped raise this channel and grow it to this extent that we're at. We're over 1 million subscribers. We reached like 1 million subscribers like, let's say like a couple weeks ago, and we are at 1.2 almost. Oh my god, like this seems unreal. I shouldn't be doing that. Okay, anyway, so what I want to explain to you is that my name is Americano. I'm the owner of this channel, you know. I used to narrate videos for this channel until I got a team full of amazing people, which I want to shout out to the Top 5's finest team. They're awesome, they make great videos, and I'm happy to have them. Alright, shout out to you guys. Enter, because this giveaway is for you guys too, damn it. Answer, because you want free stuff, right? Anyways, so first off, I want to say thank you so much. Really, it's amazing. It's really amazing to be having like a channel with 1 million subscribers. I only dreamed about this. Like shit, I've been working so hard on YouTube, and to finally be getting 1 million subscribers is just crazy, okay? But anyways, enough with that. Thank you so much. But enough with that. Now, I want to give out to you guys because you guys are so amazing, and for everything that you've done, I want to give out to you guys. So, like you heard, I'm giving away an iPhone 7 and 5 to 10 $50 Amazon gift cards. That's right, I'm going to be giving away, and this is real. Like, people do fake giveaways. They say, I'm going to be giving away this, giving away that. I'm giving away a golden dildo. Like, bruh, if you're going to give a golden dildo, give it away. Because I wanted to give one to my mom like a few years back. But, Number 1, to enter the giveaway, you must follow me on Instagram. Down below will be a link. Alright, so click on the link and click follow. That's what you must do. These are really simple steps, okay? Number 2, go subscribe to my new channel about trailers. It's a movie trailers channel which we will be uploading trailers every single day from all sorts. The newest trailers you see on TV, they don't even come out on TV first. They come out on YouTube, and I will be uploading with my team. Right now I don't have much time to upload videos, shit. But what I was saying is that to enter the giveaway to win this amazing iPhone and $50 giveaways from Amazon, it's really easy. All you have to do is, number 1, you must follow me on Instagram. That is a must, guys. If you know how to pirate movies, you know how to pirate and download free video games, just make a damn Instagram channel. You know how to do that, and follow me. And also be active, because I will be looking at people who's active also. If you follow me, you're already in, but if you're active, that's that's a little plus. You don't have to be 100% active, but the more active you are, the better. You know what I'm saying? So number 1, this is so beautiful. Number 1, follow me on Instagram, like I said, and I will be checking if you actually followed. So no cheating, because if you win the giveaway and I see that you don't follow, you cannot answer. I'm gonna have to give it away to somebody else. Alright? So number 1, follow me on Instagram, and number 2, like I said, subscribe to the new movie trailers channel. It will be down below in the description. Alright, so all the links to both things will be down below. Once you have done that, you have automatically entered to win the iPhone 7 and $50 Amazon gift cards. It is that simple. All you have to do is those 2 little things, and that is it. And for the people who are asking, how do I know that I actually won? Like, am I supposed to use telekinesis and just be like, did I win, dude? No, it's really simple. All you have to do is, like I said, follow me on Instagram, subscribe on my new channel. I'll be going on Instagram, I'll be going on your DMs, and I'll be sending you a message like, you fucking won, bro, give me a kiss in the forehead. I'll be asking for your details so I can send away the iPhone or the Amazon gift cards. And on YouTube, for the new channel, I'll be doing the same thing, but I will be messaging you on the private messages on your YouTube channel. So it's that simple. Follow me on Instagram and subscribe to the new channel, alright? That's pretty much it. Thank you so much. Like, damn it. Like you guys are so amazing. Like, you guys are so amazing for getting me to where I'm at right now. I know you guys want this, and I know you guys want free money with the Amazon gift card. So make sure you do the following steps on the description. All links will be down below. All 2 links will be down below. And once you have done that, you're entered to win. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for 1 million subscribers. I could be rambling all day, but I want to finish this video because it's freaking hot as hell. Alright, make sure you do the steps down below, and I will definitely see you on the DMs of Instagram and on YouTube. Peace. Me llegan a casa, no se capea. Solo modelos como Barea. Multiplica el cienes en la tarea. Yo soy el cacique en tu propia aldea.
Evidence that our world has been visited by aliens is always hotly contested. Even so, a huge number of us believe that aliens exist and that they must have visited us at some point in our past. Furthermore, many are convinced that they continue to visit us even to this day. We have 5 examples of extraterrestrials caught on camera and spotted in real life to help you decide for yourself. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Graveyard Alien. This footage was supposedly over a decade old when it was first posted on YouTube. The user who posted it mentioned that they initially hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary and were just taking in some footage of the local scenery. Upon replaying the video years later, they noticed something strange hiding behind one of the tombstones. Having no recollection of seeing or hearing anything out of the ordinary during their original excursion, they decided to enhance the footage and shed some light on this mystery figure. To their surprise, they discovered that they had inadvertently captured some incredible footage of what looks very much like a small gray-green alien. When you take a closer look, it's really unmistakable. After peeking out to see whether the coast was clear or not, the ET then slips back out of sight. If this was an alien, it certainly did a perfect job and managed to remain undetected for quite a while. Some have claimed that this might be a strange animal and not an extraterrestrial, but we're sure that any animal that looked like that would be noticed and identified sometime between then and now. This video does beg the question why an alien would be walking around a graveyard in the middle of the day, especially with people walking around, although that can be explained any number of ways. It's also suspicious that the original poster would have a video camera in a graveyard, but people do like to get scenic footage of all sorts of weird spots, so we can assume that's not all that odd either. While many people have weighed in on the discussion and given a lot of conflicting opinions, we think that this probably isn't a hoax. The footage doesn't seem to be doctored at all, and everything in the scene seems pretty normal, if only a little creepy. The alien does, however, seem like it could be a simple optical illusion. This could be in the actual environment, or perhaps the technical limitations of the video camera being used. Jagged edges and static are known to occur with some older cameras, as well as any number of issues that could lead to a less than perfect picture. All that aside, this is still definitely gonna cause some arguments, with ancient alien theorists convinced that this is yet another example of irrefutable proof that we've been visited by ET, both in the past and present. What do you think? Number 4. Google Earth. After an abduction, a British man and self-proclaimed UFO expert claims that he was able to find clear evidence in pictures captured by Google Earth. That's a pretty big claim, and we were originally highly skeptical. We still are, but after looking at the picture, we have to admit that it does look pretty legit. John Mooner, who lives in Devon and has dedicated much of his life to the study of UFOs and extraterrestrials, says that he was accosted by an alien who seems to have appeared and punched Mr. Mooner in the face. He reported that a struggle then ensued between the two. After being hit by the alien, he tried to fight back and attempted to defend himself. He remembers swinging at the alien and then nothing else about the attack or subsequent alleged abduction. Mr. Mooner is no stranger to ET abductions by his own account and says that he's been involved in a large amount of similar episodes. He was quick to point out, however, that this was the first time an alien actually swung at him or tried to use physical force in the form of a punch. When he came to, Mr. Mooner scoured the area on Google Earth to see if he could find anything to help him recover his memory, and that's when he found what looks a lot like two figures duking it out. He described himself as wearing a black ball cap and shirt, which is what one of the people involved in this Google Earth altercation is wearing. Unfortunately, Mr. Mooner's claims weren't taken very seriously by the rest of his compatriots. After the story appeared in a local paper, many people responded by noting that he was a regular storyteller and that many of his claims have never been substantiated. We'll leave the decision up to you as to whether you think Mr. Mooner's telling some tall tales or not. We think that he may have found an image that supported his wild theory and simply ran with it, but do think that everyone deserves the benefit of the doubt from time to time. Number 3. Reptilian. First referenced by noted conspiracy theorist David Icke and covered by countless authors and ancient alien theorists since then, reptilians are a race of aliens intent on taking over and dominating our planet. Many supporters of the theory have claimed that these extraterrestrials, who hail from the Alpha Draconis star system, are cunning and manipulative shapeshifters. They supposedly plan to take over the planet by either replacing or possessing celebrities, politicians, businessmen, and world leaders. Pretty much anyone in a position of authority or power are potential victims, if the hype is to be believed, with Icke stating that most of our world's leaders have already succumbed to the reptilian tricks. It's very much worth noting that Icke was an author before he began his crusade against evil alien overlords, with much of his books based in science fiction. The book Children of the Matrix seems to carry a lot of inspiration for these theories, although it's possible that Icke may have simply been channeling an otherworldly power or knowledge. That's almost definitely not the case, but hey, you never know, right? Many other people have since come forward and claimed that they have been abducted by these life forms and have corroborated Icke's views and opinions. They say that these creatures look very much like people and are incredibly humanoid in appearance. They're supposed to have slits in the side of their head instead of ears when in their original form. They are also very tall and imposing. Icke has further stated that he is convinced that reptilians drink human blood and are possibly the basis for the vampires of legend. Say what you will about him, Ike does have a certain stage presence, with his lectures occurring in 47 countries to crowds of upwards of 6,000 people. That's a lot of conspiracy nuts. Add to that the idea that 4% of registered US voters believe his theories as well, and we've got one big melting pot of reptilian theorists. These people must have read a lot of science fiction, although we think it's probably safer to assume that they don't read much at all. For all the joking we've done at David's expense, this video seems to have something to it, and does show a very reptilian-looking figure in Obama's Secret Service entourage from 3 different angles. Many people say that it's gotta be a reptilian alien mid-morph. Do you think the invasion's already begun? Number 2. Lake Monster. This lake monster could very easily be something out of a science fiction novel as well, but it's been captured on camera just for us, and looks very real. Stories of alien structures buried deep below the surface of the ocean have thrilled ancient alien theorists for a long time, and we think it's not too much of a stretch to think that they could easily be able to breathe underwater. We're not saying that this is proof of alien life, but we do think that it looks weird enough to warrant giving it a closer look. The problem with finding aliens in aquatic life forms is that they're all pretty alien to us to begin with. If we were to take a look at awkward shots of some of the ocean's strangest beings, we would undoubtedly see something foreign and otherworldly. We've even covered a few of these in previous videos, and can assure you that life in the ocean is strange and, in many cases, terrifying. So when it comes to determining whether this picture has actually captured an alien or just something ordinary lurking under the surface, we're really not qualified to even make any guesses. That, however, isn't gonna stop us from doing so. The sickly gray pallor of this thing makes us really feel for it if it is, in fact, alive. It can't be too far below the surface because of the fact that the water is pretty murky. Anything lower than just below the surface would quickly disappear out of sight. While any first glance at this thing would be startling, it wouldn't take much to fish around and try and pull it out if it was close to shore. The wrinkled appearance makes us think of a piece of clothing, and that's probably what this thing is. Without any video evidence, we can't really determine how it was moving, but based on the ripples above it, we think we can safely assume that it was pretty much motionless. After we really took a look and asked around, we figure that someone would probably have dropped a shirt or a pair of pants into the water, or a piece of garbage that happened to go floating by. The eyes of the creature are the same size, shape, and color as other bits of debris seen floating on the surface, which, let's be honest, is the only aspect that makes this object look like it's living. If you disagree and think that you have some evidence to support this being an alien life form, please feel free to leave a comment and prove us wrong below. We're always willing to give things a second look and are interested to hear what you have to say. This next alien caught on camera and spotted in real life, however, is one that has us completely stumped. Let's take a look now. Number 1. Floating Alien. We don't care what you think about old Floaty at number 2, this video is gonna blow you away. Thousands have given their opinions, and the overwhelming majority are simply dumbfounded and at a complete loss as to what this mysterious being could be. A lot of people have pointed out that it could be a ghost, but others have suggested that it's much too solid and opaque to be a real ghost, who they see as being more ethereal. Filmed in Turkey, the object or creature is only about a foot tall and basically floats all around a city street. It only hovers a little bit off the ground for most of the clip, but rises effortlessly to a number of meters off the ground at one point before dropping back down. The camera even has a hard time focusing on it, and it appears to phase out of existence entirely once or twice. We have to say, this footage really sent shivers down our spine. Alien or not, this is definitely real and in plain sight. As it descends after one of its jumps up to higher elevations, you can even see a clearly humanoid figure. Commenters noticed the coloring, which seems to be black and white, and pointed out that this could be a penguin, which we thought was a very serious possibility until it makes those awkward jumps, which is something a penguin certainly wouldn't be able to do, being a flightless bird. Barring any ghostly run-ins or close encounters of the third kind, we think this could also simply be a balloon with a weird shape. No matter what it actually was, this video of a real-life alien has the internet freaking out a little bit. Hope you enjoyed the video, folks. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button before you head out if you're new. That's all you have to do. Come on, just click it. I know you want to. Oh, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. I heard it gives you superpowers in the future or something. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Campbell, a water bailiff, caught sight of an enormous unknown creature while visiting Scotland's now infamous Loch Ness Lake. Campbell's account was reported in the Inverness Courier, and the term Loch Ness Monster was born. Since that fateful day, the Loch Ness Monster, or more affectionately known as Nessie, has been spotted by countless visitors. Some have even managed to capture this reputable beast on video. Here are 5 video clips that may very well prove that Nessie is more than just a legend. Let's begin. Number 5. Deep Water. In January of 2015, an elderly Scottish woman decided to spend the afternoon at Loch Ness Lake. As she strolled down by the shore, something huge and black caught her eye in the water. Shocked, the old lady pulled out her cell phone and began recording. Unfortunately, the woman in question was severely frightened, or is just horrible at handling technology. Either way, it's clear that something very large is alive and moving in the water. Number 4. Under the Waves. Sometime near the spring of 2014, a family of tourists decided it was time to visit the notorious lake and see for themselves just what the fuss was about. Of course, they never expected to actually see Nessie. Not long into their visit, a long, almost snake-like creature was seen swimming just below the surface of the water. While the animal never raises its head out of the water, it's clear from the footage that it's not an eel or a shark, which people often mistake for the monster. Number 3. Alaskan Nessie. Last year, a group of Alaskan workers were traveling on a boat down a river when one of the crew members spotted something quite unusual trailing behind them. As more of the crew were alerted, one of them whipped out a camera and recorded the odd-looking creature. The footage itself is only a few minutes long, but members of the crew claim that the animal had been visible for quite a while. After the footage was uploaded, it quickly went viral. Skeptics have come forward stating that what they filmed was no animal but a rope with chunks of ice stuck to it. However, the Alaskan workers have been adamant and steadfast in their claims. They said that they could clearly see the animal swimming downstream with them. So, is it a rope with ice or Alaska's own Nessie? You be the judge. Number 2. Nessie's cousin. Despite Nessie's fame, she isn't the only legendary lake monster. Lake Champlain, a 125-mile body of water between New York and Vermont, is also home to a lake monster known as Champ. Over the years, there have been over 300 sightings of Champ swimming about in the lake. Many local residents claim that both states encourage these tales as a means of tourism. However, tales of the Lake Champlain monster go as far back as the Iroquois and Abenaki Indians who used to live in the region. They called it the Tatuskak. In 2015, an anonymous viewer sent YouTuber Enoch a video they aren't soon to forget. The video was taken on a bright, clear day at Lake Champlain. The viewer began recording when he saw something long and skinny bobbing close to the surface of the water. The object in question looks like a log at first, but can clearly be seen swimming and thrashing around moments later. It would seem the good old Nessie has a family member. Number 1. Caught in the Act. While not much is known about this video, it's hard to imagine a film crew who has better timing. Set in 2007, 2 individuals are speaking into the camera as if making a documentary. What the subject matter is unclear and quickly becomes irrelevant when the camera operator spots something huge in the water outside the window. Everyone rushes to the side of the boat, but the creature itself doesn't seem camera shy. Its long, skinny body can be seen breaking just slightly over the surface before dipping down into the water again. It's clear by the wake it leaves that whatever the creature may be, it is extremely long, possibly even as long as the boat itself. And there, you have 5 Loch Ness monsters caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. It's no doubt that Twitch, a popular gaming live stream platform, has an incredible following. Gamers all over the world connect for the love of video games. Twitch has made it possible for folks to become career video game players, and with the camera constantly rolling, you're bound to come across a fail or two. In some cases, it's almost impossible to believe some of the things the camera is able to catch, often when we think the camera is off. Here we have the 5 ultimate Twitch fails caught on live stream. Let's begin. Number 5, stripper pole failure. Silent Century is a very popular Twitch channel with over 140,000 followers. His videos range from simple how-to tutorials for setting up your character, defeating various levels of the game, and so on. Often, followers can donate money to the different channels for various reasons, including having the gamer perform various ridiculous acts in exchange for more followers or donations. In one post, he offered to eat scorpion peppers on live stream for 10,000 followers, and being a man of his word, he delivered on his promise. But perhaps the most bizarre request he got came from one of his loyal followers who promised to donate money to his channel if he swung around on a stripper pole. While this was a very odd request, Silent Sentry was up for the challenge, but things didn't go according to plan. At the end of his stream, you see this adventurous gamer throw off his headphones and microphone and jump up out of his seat. He makes a rather enthusiastic lunge for the stripper pole already set up and ready to go. As soon as he throws himself onto the pole, he falls down flat, taking the stripper pole down with him. All the while, Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard is appropriately playing in the background. While this is definitely a side-splitting moment for his followers, he did get loads of concerned comments from his followers wanting to make sure he was okay, which he was just fine. Maybe a bit of a headache, some bruised ribs, and, well, definitely a bruised ego. Silent Century went on to report that the stripper pole was not installed properly and he fell off almost instantly. On Reddit, this popular streamer admitted that the accident occurred because of a loose washer, which stops these sorts of stripper poles from shortening. While Silent Century has the gaming world and Twitch figured out, he's probably better off to sticking with what he knows and leaving the stripper poles to the professionals. Number 4. But Mom... We all know that while our mothers can be a bit pushy, they often do have our best interest at heart. All they really want is to see us lead a happy life. But all too often, mothers and their children have completely different definitions of what a happy life really is. Rastafarilan was a pretty popular gamer on Twitch and was pretty happy with how his life was turning out. Sleeping late, bong hits, and video games. What more could a 20-something guy ask for? It's reported that Rasta even dropped out of college to pursue streaming on Twitch as a full-time career. Pretty happy lifestyle, especially since Mom paid his way in life. Well, Mom, on the other hand, had a very different view on what a happy life looks like, and it for sure didn't involve video games and Twitch. After noticing her son had racked up her credit card bill with over $400 in game skins, she completely lost it on him, right in the middle of his live stream feed with 120 followers watching. Rasta was embarrassed, to say the least, to get such a tongue lashing from his mother in front of all his friends. She called him every name in the book and demanded he leave her home if he didn't stop streaming, start showing up to class, and get a job. I think it's safe to say that although it wasn't necessarily the life he would have chosen for himself, he did take his mother's threats seriously, and the Rastafarilan empire is now over. While Rasta did close his Twitch account, remnants of his glory days of gaming can still be found online, and we all hope he's doing great for himself. But this video remains on the internet as a lesson for other grown men trying to make it as a gamer and live streamer on Twitch while living at home with Mom. One day she just might turn on you guys. Number 3. Legendary Leia. Legendary Leia, aka Leia May, is a very popular gamer and live streamer on Twitch with a pretty massive following of over 600,000 followers. And, well, as you'll soon learn, it's very apparent as to why. Recently, Leia was banned for 30 days from Twitch for lifting her leg on livestream, showing the world a very clear shot of her, well, private area. While Leia claims this was absolutely unintentional and was the result of an injury, it's pretty hard to believe this showing was anything but. As you watch the clip and how she lifts her leg, it's not in any fashion that someone with an injury would move. And since Leia has a pretty extensive history of these sorts of accidents, Twitch and the online community are a bit skeptical as to her true intentions. She's often seen in up-the-skirt types of shots in her streams, like accidentally dancing by a fan that blows her skirt up around her waist to reveal her thong. Now, maybe this could have been an accident, but it's a bit suspicious that her skirt is flying up at just the right moment for her camera to capture this accident. You have to wonder if this is all, in fact, staged. Leia will often dress in miniskirts and bend over to pick things up, unknowingly, of course, that she's exposing herself to hundreds of thousands of people. In one video, she's outright wearing only a thong and a t-shirt while she bends over to adjust a picture on her wall. Another video shows her falling down while petting her dog. Of course, her skirt flies up in the process. Video after video, she has one tragic accident after another on live stream. While it's difficult to prove if these unintentional incidents were in fact staged, it does help account for her massive following on the Twitch platform and other social media sites as well. Twitch does have a pretty strict policy on this sort of behavior, which is probably why she constantly claims such incidents to be unintentional in nature. Number 2. Japanese man sets house on fire. Okay, so this is probably one of the craziest things to ever happen on live stream. A Japanese man named Yoshihiro Mazda would often do some product reviews and live demonstrations while live streaming and playing Minecraft. In this particular video, Yoshihiro was demonstrating how to refill a lighter with lighter fluid. You see that he accidentally spills some lighter fluid and reaches for a tissue to clean it up. Oh, and did we mention that he's smoking a cigarette during this demonstration? Can we nominate this guy for a Darwin Award? After cleaning up the lighter fluid, Yoshihiro tosses the tissue in the trash without giving it another thought and resorts to just using matches instead. Yoshihiro, who apparently knows nothing about the dangers of fire, accidentally lights the whole box of matches on fire. Shocked, he throws the burning matchbook in the trash can. You know, the one with the lighter fluid soaked tissue. His trash bin immediately catches fire and quickly grows out of control. He tries to put out the fire by removing the trash bag and moving it to a pile of cardboard in the corner. Seriously, dude? When that obviously doesn't work, he attempts to put out the fire by placing a cardboard box on top of the burning trash heap, and after that brilliant idea didn't work either, he then goes to the kitchen to get a small plastic bowl with some water because, yeah, adding that little bit of water will put the fire out, right? When the small amount of water doesn't seem to work, he grabs a dry blanket and begins to fan the fire, of course helping the fire grow stronger by giving it more oxygen. Then he decides to throw the blanket over the massive fire. When all his conventional methods failed, Yoshihiro flees the apartment and calls for help. It's reported that there were 2 other family members in the house who did manage to escape, but not without sustaining some pretty serious injuries. The fire became so massive that it was reported that his elderly neighbor was burned alive in the process, who wasn't discovered for 6 hours after the incident. Number 1. The handicapped streamer. Angel Hamilton, known as Zillion OP on Twitch, was a disabled veteran bound to a wheelchair after a tour of duty. Zillion entertained thousands daily with his livestream gaming on Twitch and had a great following, along with being a member of Twitch's Disabled Streamers Club. Like most Twitch users, Zillion allowed his followers to donate to his stream, often telling his followers that the donations are going toward a new wheelchair for himself. So, thousands of loyal fans were all too eager to help out the vet. Zillion had streamed for over 2 years, collecting thousands of dollars from his followers. Then, in April 2013, Zillion was streaming like normal, and after he thought he had signed out and turned the cameras off, he stood up out of his wheelchair and effortlessly walked off camera. His loyal followers could not believe what they had just witnessed. They loyally followed and supported him for years, often donating money to him. And when they found out that he had been faking his disability this whole time, there was a Twitch uproar, and, well, that's putting it lightly. What's even more disturbing is in the video you can hear his girlfriend's reaction. When Zillion stands up, you can hear her say, "Oh my god," in reaction to her boyfriend's temporary lapse in character. Followers immediately complained to Twitch, who permanently banned Zillion and his girlfriend from Twitch. Followers even started popping up anti-Zillion websites in response to how angry they were that he had the nerve to fake a disability to collect donations from folks. The Twitch community felt misled, and they were out for justice. In response to inquiries made by Kotaku.com, Twitch provided a statement saying ZillionOP did indeed have his channel closed and his partnership contract terminated on the basis of fraud. Twitch even went on to say that they'll be offering refunds to those who subscribe to the channel through Twitch, and they considered it to be a huge slap in the face to the Twitch community and other Twitch members with real disabilities who make up a popular group on Twitch called Able Gamers. Since Twitch closed his account, you can no longer view any of Zillion's past streams, but some did manage to make it onto YouTube before Twitch could remove all his content. While the Twitch community was in an uproar, one member did offer up a defense, saying that maybe he had a condition that would allow some mobility at times, such as multiple sclerosis. However, Zillion's followers quickly replied that he had often talked about how completely immobile he was and would never walk again. Plus, the way he stood up with such ease is not characteristic of someone who occasionally can walk. And there, you have 5 ultimate Twitch fails caught on live stream. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. The average American drives more than 13,000 miles in a year. Whether it's to and from work, on vacation, or part of their job, Americans spend a lot of time every day behind the wheel, a trend that's spreading to the rest of the world. In the hustle and bustle of the freeway, you may not notice every car. Could it be that the reason you didn't see that car that was about to merge is because it wasn't there? These are 5 car teleportations caught on camera and spotted in real life. Let's begin. Number 5. Car disappears in broad daylight. There are many mysteries on the highway, but this one is definitely creepy. On the footage of a CCTV camera, you can see cars driving on a highway bridge. Seems like any other day, but then the camera picks up something strange. A gray car seems to vanish from plain sight, entering a white light in the middle of the bridge, only to reappear a few meters down the road out of nowhere. Many people have called this clip a hoax, but that's the problem with teleportation. Even if it was real, no one would actually believe you. Number 4. Invisible car merges onto highway. There's untold footage of fake teleportation out there. People just want to get views on their channel and will tell any lie to increase web traffic. But this video's owner claims that his is the real deal. He states that he got the footage from a cop on patrol. You can see a black car showing up on the roadway from nowhere and an SUV slowing down to let the mysterious, creepy car pass by. This footage might be the work of a computer geek. The decision's yours, but at the beginning of the video, you can see there was nothing behind the black SUV on the road. Number 3. Car disappears from CCTV. Imagine this. You're driving down the road and the car in front of you disappears from plain sight. Well, that's the case with this car that seems to be driving normally, then appearing to vanish out of existence. A beam of bright white light seems to shoot in front of the car, and as if through a portal, the car enters a different dimension. Could it have been Marty McFly finally hitting 88 miles per hour? Number 2. Car disappears on the highway. People often drive back roads to get away from fussy traffic on the big highways, but this guy apparently tried an alternate mode of transportation. On the footage, you can see the right lane of the highway being completely jammed, but the left side relatively clear. One car projects a white light, notice a trend yet? And then disappears from the road. Does this highway have a dimensional portal just hanging out next to the old candy wrappers and worn off tire rubber? Number 1. Car abducted by UFO. People do goofy things when we think no one's watching us, but disappearing along with your car seems a bit much. This footage, taken in Cavalier, North Dakota, shows one car parked on a small lot. When a light turns green, 2 cars appear on the street. The first white car turned right, but the second one continues toward the camera. Then, the entire street is struck by a very bright light, and when the white light has vanished, so has the car. Once again, complaints of a hoax are rife on the uploader's YouTube channel. But is there really a community of magicians, illusionists, and master video editors in Cavalier, North Dakota? That would be more of a miracle than cars vanishing from the road. And there, you have 5 car teleportations caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. The world has always been fascinated by aliens, with many claiming that we've been visited repeatedly by extraterrestrials in the past. These encounters continue to be reported all over the world. With so many people equipped with video cameras on their gadgets, amateur ET video is a growing trend. Many organizations, like the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, MUFON, regularly track and investigate these sightings with the aim of solving this mystery once and for all. Combing through their recent articles, we decided on our top 5 alien ships caught on camera and spotted in real life. Let's begin. Number 5. Gosport, UK. This account comes out of Gosport in the UK in January 2017. A man captured what looks unmistakably like a UFO one night when he stepped out to take the trash out. He immediately noticed 3 lights in the shape of a triangle. These hovering dots seem to change colors and intensify throughout the entire video. Furthermore, they move erratically across the sky in a haphazard manner a number of times before gradually reforming the triangle again. The entire clip is 4 minutes and 23 seconds long, and the man who captured the footage actually did a pretty good job of getting a clear shot. A few times during the video, one or more of the lights disappear or move behind another, only to reappear and rejoin their original formation. Eventually, one disappears behind the roof of the houses on the other side of his street. The other 2 remain alit for another while before a second drops out of view. The third light, instead of dropping below the houses, simply seems to blink itself out of existence. There's actually a lot of information given, which suggests that this guy knew what he was doing. He recorded his postal code as a reference point, estimated the dots to be hovering at a 30-degree angle, and also gives their direction. He is unable, unfortunately, to accurately guess how high they were or how far away, which hinders determining how large they were, but they do seem like they were pretty magnificent. The man went on to say that the area below the UFOs is all farmland and fields. There is no military facility or airport located in the area, and there are no structures that could be mistaken for extraterrestrial craft. Even if there were aircraft known to fly nearby, this array could not possibly have come from a conventional airplane. The way it hovers with 3 points of light moving randomly, it represents something we've never seen before. Number 4. Tallahassee, United States. Charla Dare Brady of Tallahassee caught a strange light hanging over her backyard on June 17th. She and her husband had risen earlier than usual to embark on a fishing trip, and she was sitting on her porch at 4 a.m. when the light appeared. While she stared at it, confused about its origin, she said that it started getting larger and larger, like it was coming towards her at incredibly high speeds. She then panicked for a bit before pulling out her phone and getting the entire scene on video. It seems that when she began recording, the lights became much more animated. They began to rapidly change a multitude of different colors and moved in increasingly random ways. The entire time, it seemed to be getting closer and closer. Indeed, the light begins as a fairly dim speck in the distance and slowly increases during the length of the footage. Although it was not shown in the video because Charla said she had stopped filming at that point, the light thrashed an incredibly bright white and seemed to show a green triangle floating motionless where the light had once been. After a few seconds, this triangle zipped out of sight. Her husband missed this entire scene and said that he was initially extremely skeptical and insisted that her mind was playing tricks on her. He figured that if it had been so impressive impressive, then he would have seen it. At this point, she showed him the footage she'd captured on her phone. With this, he instantly became a believer, saying he had seen nothing like it before and that there was nothing in the area that could have produced such a weird light. The couple has since asked friends to help them get to the bottom of this mystery and say that it couldn't possibly have been any known type of drone or airplane. The movements were far too erratic and were unlike any human flying machine. When nobody was able to identify the object, she sent footage to a local television station, WTXL. They initially uploaded the wrong video, but Charla resent her footage, which was properly posted soon after. After many people doubted her assumption upon seeing the wrong footage, many viewers rapidly changed their minds upon being presented with the correct video taken that morning. Number 3. Eungella, Australia. During an early morning family outing in Eungella, not too far from the northwest coast of Queensland, Australia on March of 2017, a man was with his wife and son when his son pointed towards the sky and asked his parent if the moon was still out. The family were out fairly early at 6:30 a.m. so he figured his son might be correct. He looked up and saw, about 500 meters up, a very strange round object making its way across the sky in what appeared to be an unerring straight line. It was also moving incredibly fast, which made keeping the camera on the craft a difficult exercise. Given the circumstances, we think he did a pretty good job all around, although it is a bit jumpy. He immediately noticed that the direction of the prevailing winds was blowing in the exact same direction that the object was moving. His wife suggested that it was potentially a glider, but after peering a little longer, they couldn't make out any person maneuvering the craft. He also said that it was much larger than any glider he knew about, measuring what he estimated to be at least 10 to 20 feet in length. Furthermore, the cylindrical features of the craft seemed unlike anything humans have developed. Given the dimensions he is given, this craft doesn't seem likely to be aerodynamic or have any likelihood of staying afloat according to any currently known modern methods. Eungella is a little off the coast and filled with lush, dense rainforest. This environment doesn't lend itself to aircraft, with absolutely nowhere safe to land there or close by. Since his view was eventually obstructed by trees and vegetation, he wasn't able to get the best shot, and the footage was taken on a tablet, which makes the craft difficult to see. For much of the video, it's very difficult to spot, but the times it comes into view do show a UFO much like the one described by the witnesses. When the video clip was tested and analyzed, it was found to be completely genuine. A representative for MUFON Australia has recorded this sighting as remaining unknown, pending further evidence. Number 2. Lower Austria. This footage is very much like that seen in Gosport in Item 5, and both were filmed only 5 days apart in very different parts of the world. That's an incredible coincidence, and there must be something in it. The Gosport lights moved around a little less than the Austrian lights, but both showed clear triangle patterns. The Austrian lights also seemed to spread out over a much larger area, but this doesn't carry much weight as they could have just been closer to the camera. These lights also moved in a very deliberate, albeit slow-moving circle. The guys who sent in the video were friends heading back to the driver's home for the night and had been driving in silence before the lights were seen by the man behind the wheel. They were basically in the middle of nowhere in what's usually a very sleepy section of road. Considering how many UFO sightings are made by individuals, it must have been nice to have immediate support and confirmation from close friends. Bolstered by this fact, the group stopped the car and got out to investigate. They say that the area was almost completely quiet. The hum of insects can be heard, which makes it difficult for us to notice, but they say that there's usually more noise and that the eerie silence was unusual. The lights themselves made absolutely no noise, although the men say that they seemed to be incredibly close by. They were blocked from getting any closer by a fence along the side of the field, but still managed to capture around 40 seconds of very clear video considering it was taken with a phone. The witnesses have apologized for not having further evidence, but say that only one phone was able to take a video and was almost out of space anyway. The lights continued for about the same length as the sighting in the UK, even though the video is much shorter. The lights in Austria continued for another 3 to 4 minutes before popping out of existence one by one. Number 1. South American Picnic. 3 sightings within days of each other in late 2015 and early 2016 caused a wild panic in South America in early 2016. The sightings took place across the span of a week or so in Chile, Bolivia, and Brazil. Each of these sightings seemed to involve different craft, which adds a little doubt as to the authenticity of the videos, but experts haven't been able to find any sign that the footage has been manipulated in any way. The first sighting took place in El Alto in Bolivia. Witnesses captured the UFO on tape, with many further eyewitness accounts reported over the next week. The object seemed to be enormous and cylindrical. Many initially claimed that this video was a hoax, citing the constant zooming in and out as a way to confuse any viewers. The general consensus was that the uploader was simply looking to increase web traffic by purporting a hoax. What happened over the next few days cast a lot of doubt on these accusations and seemed to bolster the evidence that this was, in fact, a real ET craft. Days after the Bolivian sighting, mysterious lights were seen above Santiago, the capital of Chile. Looking like a fleet of long, narrow craft dotted with lights across their length, they shone with a bright orange glow. The girl who captured the footage can be heard losing her mind in the background, and we have to admit that we'd probably feel the same. Even though there seems to be a lot of fog or cloud cover obscuring the objects, they are most definitely hard to miss and are obviously real. Some have claimed that this is probably a military or police exercise, and the lights are probably those of helicopters. If this was the case, we would assume that the government would speak up and help to ease people's fears. They have so far denied any involvement. Our final shot is actually a picture and not a video, but looks unmistakably like a UFO. The witness claims to have been at her son's football game when she took the picture, only to notice the object later on. If this sighting hadn't taken place only days after the other two, it probably wouldn't have garnered any attention. But the large number of confirmed sightings, reported by hundreds of people at the very least, meant that this one was taken very seriously. Do you think something weird was going down in South America in 2016? We're not sure, but we hope that the world keeps their cameras pointed at the sky, just in case. And there, you have 5 alien ships caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. The proliferation of geographic information systems such as GPS and Google Earth have allowed people to explore the world in ways that may not otherwise be possible. Many games have been created in order to satisfy that wanderlust, and sometimes developers and geographers even hide things in these maps for people to find. Sometimes people find other unintended Easter eggs. Sometimes they find something they might not have even considered to be real until they'd seen it with their very eyes. These are 5 unknown creatures caught on Google Maps. Let's begin. Number 5. Loch Ness Monster. Nessie the Loch Ness Monster was bound to be found eventually if the mythical creature has ever existed at all. Nessie is one name given to the cryptid that's said to inhabit Loch Ness in Scotland, of which sightings go back as early as the 6th century AD. While traditionally Nessie was considered to be a sea serpent, in recent years people have considered the possibility that the Loch Ness Monster might in fact be a plesiosaur that survived the mass extinction of the dinosaurs. This image, captured by satellite, suggests that Nessie might be neither. This strange, massive creature was photographed just below the water's depth so that the silhouette of its body can be clearly made out. The creature seems to have a more fish-like appearance, with a round, saucer-like head that gets narrower closer to its tail, almost resembling a whale. Perhaps we've never found Nessie because we've been looking for the wrong animal. Number 4. New Zealand Sea Monster. This alleged sea monster was captured by Google off the coast of New Zealand. According to the person who found it in 2014 using Google, Peter Whitehira, It's impossible for this strange object to be a boat because it lacks the white wake that boats traditionally leave behind. White Hira is an engineer, so we can know for sure that he is an educated, intelligent man who must know what he's talking about. Some have suggested that this may be the result of a tree trunk or a derelict boat. Others have suggested more rational possibilities. Could it be possible that a previously undiscovered species of cryptid or sea monster lives within the bay? We may never know until a thorough investigation is undertaken. Number 3. Super Crab in the UK. We know that in far history, the ocean was filled with giant monsters that are now believed to have gone extinct, despite some evidence that they continue to thrive in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean where scientists fear to investigate. The Megalodon is one such evolutionary throwback that may have survived longer than we thought. Could it be possible that a species of giant crab may exist deep beneath the ocean that we're completely unaware of? In 2014, this giant crab was allegedly spotted off the coast of the UK, where it caused a panic in surrounding beaches. Some have argued the photograph is a Photoshop or a piece of wood, but that wouldn't explain the panic at local beaches. Number 2. Bigfoot. While the Patterson-Gimlin tape in 1967 was the first recorded sighting of Bigfoot, it's believed that Bigfoot-like creatures have lived in North America for much longer. Unconfirmed reports of Bigfoot or similar creatures go back hundreds of years back to the first US colonies, or even farther through Native American legends and mythologies. If Bigfoot is a real creature, it makes sense that as camera equipment becomes more common and as people take more photos in the woods, that recorded and confirmed Bigfoot sightings increase. In this picture, it was a Google Maps car that accidentally captured an image of the creature while taking photographs for Google Street View in Canada. Number 1. Giant spider. Giant bugs are a common horror movie trope, but what if they were real? This video seems to capture one real-life island of monsters inhabited by a giant spider so large that it can be picked up by Google's satellites in space. While the specific location hasn't been nailed down, the spider was located using Google Earth by a user in Mexico who saw the image of the creature dragging itself out of the ocean onto a collection of large rocks. And there, you have 5 unknown creatures caught on Google Maps. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it. And if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Godzilla. Who doesn't know the name? While movies featuring monsters the size of skyscrapers destroying cities and chomping on panicked citizens haven't featured much in the past few decades, we still have a special place in our hearts for the terrifyingly vicious mutant. Born of the sea, Godzilla is said to lurk in the depths, coming to the surface from time to time when driven to wander out of its natural habitat. We're still skeptical, but thought we'd present you with 5 Godzilla caught on camera and spotted in real life to help keep your day interesting. Let's begin. Number 5. Massive Iguana Galapagos. This critter may be small, but it's certainly more than comfortable in the water. It's also the stuff of childhood nightmares and something we wouldn't want to mess with. We just couldn't help ourselves and had to add this quality footage to our list when we saw this tiny iguana tearing apart the reef and wreaking its very own trail of destruction. It really does look like a miniature Godzilla doing its thing. While it may not be the destroyer of any human cities, this iguana definitely looks famished. If some terrible catastrophe catastrophe led these swimmers to mutate to enormous heights, it would most certainly be time to turn tail and run for your lives. Furthermore, it spans a very impressive 6 feet, which doesn't make it so tiny after all. The environment that these iguanas inhabit is one of the richest and most impressive on Earth. The Galapagos Islands are simply teeming with unique and exotic life, giving these sea iguanas plenty to eat. Much of that life has been relatively unchanged for hundreds of thousands of years, which led to the footage we're now able to share. The way it walks along the reef after cruising overhead and touching down, pausing to inspect another potential meal every second or two, is oddly unsettling, and we can only imagine that running, or swimming for that matter, into one of these creatures would be an incredibly harrowing experience, even for the most stoic of humans. If an iguana that size decided it didn't like the look of your nose, it could probably quite deftly rearrange your face to suit its own needs. It could also outswim and outmaneuver a person, putting us completely out of our element. These divers must have nerves of steel. Even more scary is the fact that a bite from one of these iguanas would almost certainly become infected, making your Galapagos trip rather miserable. Still, we have to appreciate the grace with which this thing swims, even if it sends chills up our spine. It's a good thing that most iguanas aren't about to attack humans if they can help it, so we can swim safe knowing that we're probably not going to end up on their dinner menu. Unfortunately, we can't always assume as much about the next beast on our list. Its impressive size dwarfs these iguanas, reaching lengths of almost 3 times that of our friendly Godzilla lookalikes, and making them seem downright cuddly in comparison. Number 4. Immense Gator, Florida. We all know Florida has some pretty impressive creatures roaming around its swamplands. The Okefenokee is one well-known sanctuary that allows visitors to really immerse themselves in nature and live dangerously. Another site that's been getting a lot of attention recently is fairly innocuously named. Polk Nature Discovery Center may sound like a place to bring the entire family for a day trip, and it actually is, to a certain extent. If you've got the type of kids who love to run off and explore, then this park definitely shouldn't feature on any vacations in the near future. Turns out that this place has some crazy inhabitants roaming around it. Polk Nature Discovery Center is located in Lakeland, Florida, and is quite expansive, boasting 1,267 acres that cover a number of different ecosystems. One of the dangers lurking in the park are the enormous gators that look like they're straight out of a horror movie. These terrifying reptiles could certainly do some damage if they decided to storm through Tokyo tomorrow, so it's a good thing this sighting went as well as it did while crossing a berm, which is a man-made embankment constructed to help visitors better navigate the marshland. Park officials say that these also serve as paths for their resident gators as they cruise from one marsh to the other. One such beast was recently spotted by a large group of people who simply had to pull out their cameras and snap a shot. We're glad they did because their footage is amazing. The gator they ran into was an incredible 16 feet in length, which is incredibly impressive. This smaller cousin of Godzilla still packs a punch, and we're sure that it could have taken on those onlookers if it had wanted to. These people seem to be fearless, crouching down only feet away from the creature to get the best possible view of those insanely large teeth. Floridians seem to be used to these sorts of occurrences, however, and don't let much faze them. In 2016, another 15-foot gator made similar headlines when it strolled across a golf course fairway, seemingly oblivious to the concerned golfers whose path it had suddenly blocked. We think 15 to 16-foot creatures that are literal living dinosaurs are absolutely worthy of coming in at number 4 on our list, and also want to give a shout out to the tweaked citizens of Florida who were more than happy to put themselves directly in harm's way so we could get this wonderful footage of a real-life Godzilla. Number 3. Godzilla sighting Barbados. As far as actual Godzilla sightings go, there really isn't much to work with. Even with its supposed size and destructive nature, there's a lot of ocean to hide in. We also know very little about the ocean, especially at greater depths. This is a combination that leads us to think there could be something to the legend, even though we do think most sightings are a touch far-fetched. This video, however, is great quality and is just convincing enough to leave us with our doubts as to it being a forgery or anything other than the real deal. The video shows a dock or jetty in Barbados, right on the water, with what looks like a mostly full moon illuminating the sky. Clouds roll across the horizon and fog hangs in the air as the camera focuses its aim. Given the kind of night we're working with, it goes without saying that the entire ordeal would be pretty creepy no matter what. As the creature slowly comes into view, you're given a clear impression that whatever's out there is massive. It's obviously begun to attract some attention too, as there are other onlookers trying to get a good shot in this featured video. Cloud cover and fog can create some impressive visions and make even the most defined features seem awkward and off, but whatever's out there isn't a boat. In fact, it can't be anything man-made at all. The height and the speed at which it moves simply discount anything we're capable of engineering. At that spot, all the witnesses should have been looking at was ocean, not some towering monstrosity taking a midnight stroll through the depths. It should be mentioned that the effect seen can be reproduced during certain conditions with certain types of clouds. Lighter, less dense clouds moving in front of and behind banks of fog or larger, heavier clouds further out to sea can absolutely create these forms of shadows. Even so, this effect is startling, and it looks so much like an actual snapshot of Godzilla that we felt we had to share it and let you see for yourself. Most times clouds trip us out, it's nowhere near this impressive or on such a large scale. Number 2. Godzilla Fossil, Argentina. In 2005, National Geographic reported that a 135 million year old skull had been found in Argentina. The skull belonged to a creature that has since been dubbed Godzilla. This massive skull was amazingly found almost completely intact and has since offered a wealth of information during further examinations and research. Originally found in 1996, scientists wanted to make sure that they had their findings in order before revealing their discovery to the world. What they found was that Dacosaurus andianensis is an entirely new species of creature that was previously unknown to science. Furthermore, this thing was huge and fearsome. Definitely not something you want coming at you out of the depths. Then again, if this beast took a bite out of you, it would probably be over pretty quickly. Researchers were able to determine that Godzilla had immense, extremely powerful jaws, kitted out with huge serrated teeth, capable of ripping you into confetti in seconds flat. We know that this creature lived in the sea and wasn't able to walk on land at all, placing it perhaps just a touch before Godzilla in the evolutionary ladder. If humans were around, this would have been a welcome fact, as we're sure that this thing could have razed entire villages to the ground in one stomp if it had the legs to carry it. Its skull was found in a part of Argentina that was known to be completely underwater at the time, and its diet was most probably other fairly large sea life. By examining those razor-sharp teeth, researchers were able to gather that it was completely carnivorous and extremely adept at catching and shredding its prey. Spanning 13 feet, this creature means business, although we've shown that Florida has some gators that could give it a run for its money. Amazingly, this fossil has led researchers to believe that the creature was an ancient form of today's crocodiles and may help bridge a previously missing evolutionary gap. Marine crocodiles were prolific in the Jurassic era, which ended 145 million years ago, so we're obviously looking at an ancient throwback to an even more ancient era. Number 1. Kudos for trying, Anytown, USA. Whoever took this video needs to go back and get a little more practice under their belt. After all the interesting things we've covered with regard to Godzilla's, or at the very least their lookalikes and distant cousins, we thought you could use a little humor in your day. Featuring the open farmland and light forest that could be found in Anytown, USA, this guy's attempt to perpetuate a hoax is laughable at best. If we can say one thing for certain, it's that he did seem to really give it his all. The very best of the worst, this video shows an elongated, hunched-over mix of a T-Rex, Triceratops, and lizard. The storm rolling in gives perfect cover and makes the creature just hazy enough that any casual observer would probably be fooled, if they were blind. We do appreciate the fact that, unlike most other videos found on the subject, the supposed Godzilla's legs actually do touch the ground. Unfortunately, that's about the only credit we can give. We're also very much aware that there are places in the world where a creature of that size could tear through farmland, screaming bloody murder as it barreled along, and not raise the attention of the outside world. Too bad that place isn't right in the middle of America's heartland. That being said, we do hope that we're wrong, because seeing something like that bearing down on you would be a pretty cool way to spend your remaining few seconds alive. And there, you have 5 Godzilla caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. In the movie Last Action Hero, a cute but foolhardy boy brings fictional characters to life with the help of Harry Houdini. Among the heroes, villains, and spooks brought into the real world is the Grim Reaper, the legendary scythe-carrying harbinger of death, who turns out to be an okay guy. Most of us think the legend of the Grim Reaper is only fiction, but some uploaders have claimed to capture a real-life image of Mr. Reaper, often with hood and weapon. Here are 5 terrifying Grim Reapers caught on camera. Let's begin. Number 5. No Chance Necromancer. A Chinese proverb says, to make rabbit stew, first catch a rabbit. So before we can capture the Grim Reaper on video, we have to summon him. In 2016, the YouTuber Stomedy, known for silly stunts, places lit candles all around his computer desk and ends up burning photographs of cartoon characters. Does it cause a cartoon version of the Grim Reaper to show up? No, but it does provoke a bit of mildly creepy laughter from the stream host, who is a better pyromaniac than a necromancer. Number 4. Legend Lessons. This video clip purports to show an invisible Grim Reaper taking the soul of a living being. It begins with a mysterious, possibly human figure lying asleep on a bed in what appears to be an infirmary somewhere in the Far East. Soon, a phantom-like image of the body seems to detach from the figure laying on the bed and vanish into the next world. But genuine or not, this clip is noteworthy for the mythology lesson from YouTube commenter Flower Lotus, who says that it's only the Reaper's job to lead souls to the gate, whereupon he gives up soul rights. Get it? Soul rights to the gatekeeper. We can only surmise that hell involves as much contractual red tape as any place. Number 3. Home Sweet Home. Where else does the Grim Reaper feel right at home but in a cemetery? Captured by motorists on video and still photos shown on television news in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2014, an ominous cloaked figure stood almost motionless over a grave at the top of the hill by the highway. Who it was or what they were doing was never discovered, leading to controversy as many occult enthusiasts felt it must be a genuine Grim Reaper sighting. But our favorite YouTube comment purports that it was definitely a nerdy 30-something Satanist who works at Burger King and is going through a breakup. Man, is it really fair to assume that? I mean, for all we know, they could be working at Wendy's. Number 2. High as a Kite. You would think that Broomfield, Colorado would be the site of flying witch sightings. Instead, this 2014 video stands as one of the most hilariously bad attempts at a paranormal YouTube upload ever. In fact, it's so bad, it's good. In the clip, spooky music from Johann Sebastian Bach is the soundtrack for a flying Grim Reaper, or actually a flying Grim Reaper-shaped kite. It's so obviously a kite that you can see drivers ignoring it as they motor past, not even slowing down. Imagine a ship sailing on the obvious river heading for Lame Lagoon. Is water wet? Does wood burn? Then this is a kite. The uploader wisely disabled comments for the video, or else she would still be getting flamed 3 years later for this piece of male cow excrement. Stick to witches, Broomfield. Number 1. Wheel of Fortune. This is the most genuinely disturbing clip on our list, so we saved it for number 1. In the video, a motorcyclist is tragically killed trying to weave around a diesel truck on a crowded highway. Once sliding to the pavement, the cyclist is obviously cut to pieces by the big rig. A few seconds later, or about the time it takes for a brain to begin to die, a Grim Reaper-like figure can be seen walking past. Is it taking the soul of the dead motorist? Notice that the cloaked figure doesn't stop to look at the horrible, fatal wreck next to him on the street, something that almost any living human being would do. And there, you have 5 Grim Reapers caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. While many do not consider themselves to be religious and others don't believe in God, they continue to fear the devil. Could it be because demons live among us? Would you turn to religion if you saw one? These are 5 demons caught on camera and spotted in real life. Let's begin. Number 5. Mass possession in Colombia. Some believe that by playing games like Ouija, that by inviting demons to communicate with you, you're also inviting them into your life and to possess your body. That is one possible cause of an epidemic in a Colombian school some blamed on a Ouija app. According to reports, the possession occurred after a group of students experimented with the Ouija phone app, when they began to display symptoms of possession. Some students began screaming while others convulsed. According to the students, they were afraid that they would lose their souls to the devil. The 20 students were originally taken to a hospital, but were then taken to a church after the secular treatment proved ineffective against the supernatural threat. The question is, was there a real ghost in the machine? Number 4. Demon Tree of St. Louis. While walking through a cemetery in St. Louis, Missouri, one witness found this strange fire that many considered to be an omen. Jim Probst, the person who took the video, found it in the middle of a cloudy day as he was walking his dog when he saw the smoke. According to Probst, it was like the tree had exploded and left pieces of bark everywhere. While skeptics argued that this fire was the result of a lightning strike, others argued that this tree was the product of demonic activity, or that perhaps the fires of hell itself were springing forth from the cemetery and burning the tree. Some even went so far as to point out that the strange smoldering wreck even had what appeared to be a demonic face from within. Can you see it? Number 3. Zozo. Zozo is the name of a demon said to be associated with Ouija. According to urban legends, Zozo is the demon responsible for most, if not all, misfortune that befalls those who experiment with Ouija boards. Zozo, it's said, is an ancient and powerful demon dating back to the biblical fall of Lucifer and the other demons. It's believed that Zozo has the ability to possess not only the users of Ouija boards in order to communicate through them, but to possess those they come in contact with. One Ouija board user claimed that his ex-wife attempted to murder him under Zozo's control, and that Zozo caused his best friend to die from a DUI. In this video, one person playing with a Ouija board is allegedly possessed by the demon, causing them to lose control of their body and convulse. Number 2. Hillary Clinton possession. Every president has been connected to one conspiracy theory or another. Between the Freemasons, Bohemian Grove, the Illuminati, or the reptilian conspiracy, of which we have conclusive evidence, every most powerful person in the free world has been accused of simultaneously being the most evil. Hillary Clinton is no exception. While she was deprived of the presidency, as the wife of President Bill Clinton, she's found herself connected to just as many, if not more, conspiracies than her husband, including theories about her health, her connection to noted child traffickers, pizza ping pong, and even the state of her immortal soul. During the 2016 election, she began exhibiting strange behaviors and health problems. Could it be possible that she was possessed, as some have suggested? Number 1. Contagious possession in Peruvian school. Some have suggested that demons, like bacteria or viruses, exist in the world even if we're not able to see them, and like disease may potentially be transmitted from host to host through direct contact, influence, ritual, or language. These transmission vectors might explain what some have described as a contagious possession in a school in Peru. According to reports, nearly 100 children were possessed by the devil himself. While the epidemic started with only a few possessions, it grew to 80 students. These students exhibited symptoms of possession including convulsions, screaming, and fainting. And there, you have 5 demons caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. What once began as just another creepypasta tale has evolved into something truly terrifying. Jeff the Killer is an alleged teenager who has been severely bullied by his peers. One day, a group of guys are said to have attempted a prank on Jeff that went horribly awry. Large quantities of bleach came into contact with Jeff's face, permanently turning his skin a bright white. The incident is said to have caused great traumatic stress on Jeff, which ultimately led him to realize that he enjoys causing pain to himself and others. Jeff is said to have burned off his eyelids and cut through his cheeks to give him a permanent Joker-like grin. Now on the loose, Jeff the Killer is said to roam across the United States, sneaking into houses and murdering his victims. Here are 5 hair-raising videos where Jeff's would-be victims successfully captured him on film. Let's begin. Number 5. Hiding in the woods. On September 9th, 2016, a boy who operates under the YouTube channel That's Funny Bro 64 decided to start filming when he heard the sound of girlish screams emanating from his neighborhood. As he walks down the street, another high-pitched scream can be heard from somewhere nearby. As the boy nears the woods, an intimidating figure wearing Jeff the Killer's iconic sweatshirt can be seen disappearing into the trees. I think, had the boy fully realized who he was following, he would have been much more frightened. Number 4. Blood in the Shed. In 2014, a YouTuber named Josh Dominguez began filming at his house after he began to notice that his 2 dogs started acting strangely on a regular basis. Josh reported that both his dogs would grow agitated and overly alert for no reason at all. Deciding to investigate outside, Josh grabs the camera and heads into the backyard. As he narrates about the age of the house, he ventures into an old shed where he finds a blood-drenched axe sitting on a table. Terrified, Josh begins to retreat back into the house when he spots Jeff the Killer lurking at the far corner of his backyard. Josh insists that he wants to forget the entire incident, especially after notifying the police. Number 3. Letter to Mother. In this 2016 video, a man is hanging out with his daughter in their kitchen, creating a video for the girl's mother who had previously checked herself into rehab. A few seconds into the girl's video message for her mother, a loud noise outside the house startles them both. Grabbing their coats, the father and daughter duo run outside with flashlights in hand. At first, everything seems fine. Then, something in the shadows tosses a ball near the family, no doubt to scare the bejesus out of them. Seconds later, Jeff the killer emerges, and the father rushes his daughter back inside, fearing for her safety. Number 2. Standing in the hall. Next to nothing is known about this eerie video clip, but in terms of creepiness, it definitely takes the cake. The video begins after a young man sets the camera down facing a hallway within his home. The boy can then be seen rushing up the stairs. Out of fright? It's quite likely, as Jeff the killer emerges from the shadows further down the hall. The looming darkness and his sinister appearance is enough to give you goosebumps. One can only hope that all of the members of the household remained unscathed during Jeff's most unfortunate visit. Number 1. The Angry Intruder. In this short video, a young girl named Lizzie is wandering outside her house, ready to make her first ever YouTube video. Her plans are quickly cut short, however, when an intimidating figure in a white hoodie appears a few feet away. Realizing just who the creepy figure is, Lizzie runs back to her house and promptly shuts the door behind her. Jeff the killer is determined to get inside, however, and begins to beat on the door as Lizzie cries and cowers behind it. She claims that after her mother came home a half hour later, they contacted the police, but no trace of Jeff could be found anywhere in the area. And there, you have 5 Jeff the Killer sightings caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Many people are familiar with the idea of reptilians, the humanoid lizard people that allegedly adopt human personas and control the world as suggested by David Icke. Believers claim that a secret cabal of bioengineered reptilian hybrids control Earth's governments and walk among us. They believe this hypothesis is supported by millennia of mythologies pointing to this truth. But have they found material evidence? Some people believe they have. These are 5 reptilians caught on camera and spotted in real life. Let's begin. Number 5. Reptilian on Dr. Phil. While many realize that Dr. Phil is a fake doctor who promotes negative behavior, such as Danielle Bregoli, like some kind of glorified, pretentious, white supremacist Jerry Springer, could it be that Phil was spun off from known reptilian associate Oprah Winfrey in order to promote the reptilian agenda on cable? According to this video, it might be. While promoting whatever agenda she was assigned to promote while disguised as a human, this reptilian's holographic malfunctioned, revealing her disturbing, inhuman eyes. The snake-like eyes could reveal the true nature of this transdimensional monster, which has come to Earth in order to destroy the Western principles of democracy, Christianity, and the free market. Dr. Phil must be considered compromised by humanity's true, hidden enemies. Number 4. Reptilian at 2012 Olympics. The London 2012 Olympics were an exciting but terrifying time. London and the UK used the Olympics as an excuse to step up their, excuse the pun, draconian surveillance tactics and improve their 1984-like security industrial complex. While people in the UK faced stricter surveillance in the name of the war on terror, many believed that a false flag attack may target the London Olympics, such as the noted Project Bluebeam, which would fabricate an alien invasion of Earth so that the NWO could implement a one-world government founded on cultural Marxist principles of wealth redistribution and population control, or genocide. Perhaps something went wrong, as while we know that reptilians had infiltrated the Olympic Games based on this photo evidence, nothing happened. Number 3. Reptilian humanoid captured on video in Australian cave. While most believe that reptilians come from the 5th dimension, others believe that reptilians may have other, more demonic origins from below the earth, from hell, because they are demons. It would be possible then, if we believe hell existed below the earth, that by finding the right cave system that connects to the depths of mythological hell, then you might find a demonic reptilian. In this video, cave explorers captured a human-like creature climbing the walls of a cave. When the explorers flash their lights on the creature, it moves its head to hide its eyes and face. According to Nick Maliki, the hunter who captured the footage, the creature was a Nephilim, commonly known as a reptilian, and stood over 10 feet tall. Number 2. Hillary Clinton caught transforming. While Hillary Clinton was allegedly born a human being and the daughter of a pastor in a small town in Illinois, others believe, based on compelling evidence, that Hillary Clinton is in fact a reptilian who sits at the highest levels of the shadow government that rules the world. In this video, you can clearly see that her face is different than that of a normal human's face because of the way it is and the way that it moves on television. One must ask, was she born human and converted to reptilian through genetic engineering, or has she been playing the long game like so many reptilian hybrid infiltrators? Number 1. Reptilian on reality TV show. Many realize and accept that the mainstream media, or MSM, is responsible for socially engineering humanity into accepting the dominion of their inhuman masters, through years of slowly introducing reptilian storylines or characters into their programs. We can clearly see that in this show, one reptilian character on a reality TV show experiences some sort of distress, causing its holographic or bioengineered disguise into malfunctioning. But was it truly a malfunction, or is it an attempt to subtly introduce human audiences to reptilian body language and physical behavior? If many watched this reality show without noticing this reptilian, then surely their plan has worked, and we must work harder than ever to identify and isolate reptilian threats among us. And there, you have 5 reptilians caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. While vampire legends all seem to bring their own unique twist to the genre, they pretty much all feature a pale and ancient monster that survives on the blood of live creatures. They also historically dig bats. While vampire bats are creepy, they aren't the only things out there with a predilection for blood. So we decided to cover a few interesting vampire sightings and vampire-esque critters for you to think about. Let's begin. Number 5. Dracula Monkey. First up is a pretty cute little species which goes by the name of Dracula Monkey. Despite their name, these critters are completely harmless and are actually more threatened by people than we are by them. These creepy looking monkeys were thought to be completely extinct until only relatively recently, when footage of some unmistakable specimens popped up back in 2012. 2 separate teams caught video at 2 separate locations almost simultaneously by using motion-triggered cameras. Also known as Miller's Grizzled Langur, which is a pretty cool name in itself, these monkeys were once known to inhabit Borneo and Indonesia. The discovery was an interesting one for scientists, not only because these primates were thought to be extinct, but also because they were found relatively far from their natural habitats. Clear-cutting and controlled burning of the forest to make way for humans was what initially initially drove the monkeys to the brink of extinction, so it's good to see that they were able to adapt quickly enough to their changing environment. Their new home in the Wihia forest in Borneo seems to suit them well, and they're slowly growing in number once again. It's a protected area that covers 98,000 acres, although it is hemmed in almost on all sides with very aggressive logging, palm oil, and mining operations. As such, they do remain frighteningly close to extinction, and we can assume that unless some serious action is taken, that they could very easily remain endangered indefinitely, if not completely wiped out for good. Few of those involved in the find had ever seen a real specimen up close. Even then, they had only ever seen a museum exhibit, and almost nothing is known about the lives of these mysterious creatures. First seen in the 1970s, the monkey was extremely rare even before it was initially noted. As can be expected, everyone was incredibly excited about the find, insisting that more expeditions need to be mounted in the future. We'll admit that we were somewhat disappointed that these animals don't share any of the infamous Count's characteristics other than an unsettlingly eerie face. Their hunched forms and vacant expressions framed in small tufts of white fur still do bring pictures of Dracula to mind, although they look far too cute to be able to do any real damage if provoked. If Dracula ever needed a mascot dressed in a tiny little butler suit, however, he now knows where to go to find one. Number 4, 2016. And now we head back to our sightings. This one's pretty good, and we thought you'd like it. It's got a lot of people freaking out, with just as many shaking their heads. We'll let you decide what you think about it after taking a quick look. It shows what appears to be security camera footage in a store. The stunned staff also seems to be freaking out a little bit in the phone video taken of the actual footage. Customers are going about their day when a guy walks around the store dressed head to toe in black. He's also got some pretty hipster glasses, so it seems that vampires still have no real fashion sense. Why change a good thing, right? The guy then passes in front of the mirror, and he appears to have absolutely no reflection. Just in case you missed it, you get a good slow motion shot for good measure. Is this just fancy camera tricks with a few actors, or is something weird going on? Tons of people have weighed in, but we're reserving our judgment for now. We know what you're thinking, and you could very well be right. The other people in the store move around a little until the guy in black passes the mirror, when everything gets really still in the image we see in the mirror. A lot of attention has been given to this detail, but it still really doesn't prove or disprove anything per se. It's also noted that if he were to be a vampire, it would go without saying that he wouldn't show up in the mirror. The real question here is whether you'd expect to see his clothes in the same reflection. We don't know what quality led to vampires and other creatures found in lore losing their bodily reflections, but we're pretty sure it isn't inherent in pieces of fabric stitched together. Could be that we're just looking at a really smart vamp, in which case we want that tech. We're gonna say that he should probably get a suit guy to put together something a little more bespoke. Kids these days are always dropping the ball when it comes to looking good, but picturing Count Dracula playing Dungeons and Dragons with this creepy little kid just doesn't add up. If he wants to keep up his reputation as a dangerously cool badass, he's gotta start making his modern converts at least look the part. Number 3, 1946. Our next sighting comes in at number 3 and hails from way back in 1946. This is the kind of stuff we picture when we think Dracula, and it's good to see that this specimen knew what they were doing when they chose their outfit that evening. The sepia tone and grainy footage build up a lot of suspense, and it really sets the mood. The graphic nature of this film is stated outright, and we should warn you, it's a real shocker. It seems that this footage was found and recovered during a construction project in London, which certainly explains the dismal and dreary scenery. It's no surprise that a sighting would come out of rainy and grey London, as the mid-century would have made for a perfect hunting ground. So many poor Londoners, so little time. Life must have been tough. But we digress. Time to get back to the footage we managed to get a hold of. What looks like a mangled doll with its back to the camera sits in the foreground as a cart slowly comes into view. The driver, obviously unaware of the dangers ahead, goads his hesitant horses forward toward the dropped camera. Unfortunately, we don't have any footage that reveals what happened to the original owner, but we can only assume that he was on some kind of outing when he happened across disaster. This vamp definitely did well for himself that day. As the cart passes by, the people on board react to something terrifying. And then, you get surprised with the most ridiculous Christmas tree ornament looking Count Dracula. Sorry, we know. We just couldn't help ourselves. Let's be honest, if vampires aren't supposed to show up in mirrors, why would you expect them to show up on video? It just doesn't make sense, people. We also very much enjoy watching Bram Stoker's Dracula from time to time and figured we'd pull that throwback back out for you. On that note, we're moving back into the land of the living to present you with yet another vampire-based animal that, surprise surprise, hails out of Borneo. It's also relatively rare, seldom seen by humans, and steeped in legends that speak of its terrible and terrifying appetite for blood. Number 2. Vampire Squirrel. Time to get ready for some good old-fashioned myth-busting. We're back in the tropics and ready to have some fun with item number 2 on our list. The vampire squirrel has been a staple of Borneo legends for countless generations, striking fear into the hearts of locals and tourists alike. The stories, passed down as lore, say the evil creature has been known to feast on deer and other large animals, even turning its sights to humans when other prey isn't available. If that isn't enough to inspire terror, they've also been known to tear chickens open, devouring the vital organs while the bird is still living. Fortunately, reality finally caught up with the myths when actual footage was caught of these killer rodents. Even more fortunately, the vampire squirrel has been identified as Rheithrosciurus macrotus, better known as the tufted ground squirrel, and is known to be relatively harmless. It is, however, known to be one hell of a scrapper and can hold its own in a fight. This should come as no surprise, considering its biggest natural enemy is the incredibly quick and limber Sunda-clouded leopard. The squirrel is probably given its menacing moniker because of years' worth of locals watching these frisky fighters take on such formidable hunters. They also have impressively plumed tails that are known to be the bushiest tails of all squirrel species. They're definitely huge, coming in at 130% heavier than the entire rest of its body. This gives it the added distinction of having the largest mammalian tail-to-body ratio currently known. With so much going on with these squirrels, it's hard to believe that there's been so much misinformation spread about them. They do, however, have extremely powerful jaws used to crack open its dinner of Malva parviflora, also known as cheese meal, seeds which are notoriously tough. In order to put the squirrel's vampire-ish tendencies to rest once and for all, a team of brave researchers trekked deep into the forests of Gunung Palung National Park to set up a series of infrared cameras. Hopefully next time they bring back some video footage, but we're still excited to find out. Number 1. Are chupacabras SA vamps? With so many people running around with their devices out snapping pictures of anything odd they come across, we figured we'd raise an interesting point regarding the similarities of chupacabras and vampires. We think that they're, at the very least, long-lost cousins of our more familiar European-style vampires, if not from the very same creator. Think about it, not much is known about chupacabras, and footage is only just recently kicking them into the public eye. Our lore here doesn't really touch on them much, but they're starting to become more prolific. Given that they're literally called goat suckers by locals and are known to drink the blood of both animals and humans, we think that they're probably one and the same. Could be that the chupacabra branch tries a little harder to avoid drawing unnecessary attention by attacking and devouring humans en masse. If this is the case, we think it's commendable, if not still really creepy and disturbing. We also haven't heard of many chupacabra sightings happening during daytime hours at all. In fact, after pouring through heaps of video footage, we were only able to find one source that seemed to suggest chupacabras are able to sustain direct sunlight. Their nocturnal nature, thirst for blood, and general mystery make us think that we're probably onto something here. If you have an opinion, we'd love to hear it. Feel free to add your opinion in the comments section and help us get to the bottom of this mystery once and for all. And there, you have 5 Dracula caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. We paid attention. These are 5 unexplained mysteries in the sky caught on camera and spotted in real life. Let's begin. Number 5. Eye over Russia. In March 2017, a strange glowing eye appeared in the night sky over Chelyabinsk, a city in Russia, the same city where a meteor exploded above in 2013. The eye appeared in the early morning. The phenomenon caused a combination of panic and passive interest as it rested quietly above the city, and drew obvious comparisons from the media, including the Eye of Sauron, the Eye of Providence, and even Big Brother from George Orwell's 1984. There are several possible causes. The bright, flashing lights on the ground near the phenomenon led some to speculate that the eye itself was a hologram, or tied into the Project Bluebeam conspiracy theory. Others have suggested that the phenomenon may be related to transient luminous events, a combination of natural and supernatural lighting events. Number 4. Rainbow clouds over Brazil. In December 2016, a strange, colorful cloud formation appeared over Brazil. The phenomenon became known as the rainbow cloud or fire cloud. Some people believe that this is a natural phenomena similar to that of rainbows, as the name implies. As white sunlight hits the cloud, it's scattered by the water molecules within, creating a colorful light. But if the mechanism of such a cloud is so simple, why are they seen so infrequently? It's been suggested that the cloud may have a more significant supernatural cause. Some have suggested this cloud may be the product of HAARP, a conspiracy to control global weather. Others have proposed that the cloud may be a form of camouflage for a UFO or an interdimensional portal. Number 3. Second sun over Slovakia. Bratislava, Slovakia looked like Tatooine in January and February 2017 as two suns seemed to rise and fall over the Eastern European landscape. Some have argued that this phenomenon is the result of reflections in a cloudy sky, mirroring the sun in a manner similar to the Fata Morgana optical illusion. Others have argued that this is an omen, and that the second sun may not be a sun at all, but Planet X, or Nibiru, a popular concept in conspiracy theories. According to believers, Nibiru is an ancient planet that is the origin of intelligent life on Earth that shall one day crash into the Earth in an event known as the Nibiru Cataclysm. Could this second sun be an omen of this coming apocalypse? Number 2. Green fireball caught on police dashcam. In February 2017, a police dashcam caught a green meteor crashing down in Lisle, Illinois. Green fireballs are a prolific and well-recorded, though contested, phenomenon in the paranormal. Green fireballs are most often associated with UFOs and aliens, either considered to be UFOs or some type of weapon used by UFOs. Others argue that green meteors have a specifically spiritual, metaphysical meaning. The prestigious horror writer H.P. Lovecraft even used a green meteor as an omen in one of his own stories, representing destruction by the alien and the corruption from within. Number 1. Sky sounds. Sky sounds are an increasingly common phenomena that have been associated with the end of times. Historically, sky sounds could be considered to be an omen of the end of the world. Many ancient myths detail music from the gods or heavens indicating a great change in the earth or spiritual world. It wasn't until the 2010s that sky sounds became as prolific as they are, when numerous cults and religious organizations called 2012 the end of the world. People looked for signs of the end times and, well, they heard them. While experts and casual observers offer natural or man-made explanations for sky sounds, including video manipulation to create them from thin air, new reports continue in spite of that.
And it's fucking loud. You hear that?
And there, you have 5 unexplained mysteries in the sky caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. While we all know Shrek and love Shrek and sing songs of Shrek, what you may not know is that Shrek is not the only ogre. Stories and myths about ogres go back hundreds of years and even transcend cultural boundaries. Ogre, the French word for a large, man-eating giant, comes from the Etruscan cannibal god Orcus. In Japan, they're called Oni, and tales of ogres bear striking resemblance to trolls of Norwegian folklore. Of course, it's worth mentioning that the giant man-eating cyclops of Greek mythology bears striking resemblance. Could ogres be inspired by real creatures? These are 5 ogres caught on camera and spotted in real life. Let's begin. Number 5. Japanese ogre or Oni on parade. Japanese ogres, or Oni as they're called, are one type of yokai, or Japanese demons. While most yokai take the form of ghosts or demons that haunt their victims in various ways, Onis have traditionally been considered much more terrifying. In ancient traditional Japanese culture, Onis were considered godlike figures, but have since come to take on ogre-like monstrous humanoid forms. This video allegedly captures one such Oni in pre-war Japan as part of a parade through what appears to be a city. This record mirrors reports in journals written by the Japanese military, of which many members claim to have seen Oni on the isolated islands that they occupied during World War II. Some of these Oni were even allegedly responsible for Japanese casualties during the war, as squads were torn apart and even devoured by an unseen threat. Number 4. Black Ops Ogre in Ferguson, Missouri. Some people believe that a race of ancient evil beings called Nephilim secretly control the world. The Nephilim are first mentioned in the Bible as the race of giants that were created by the interracial breeding between human women and angels. In recent years, some have speculated that the Nephilim might in fact be aliens from the planet Nibiru, or the products of genetic engineering of humans by aliens that seek to control the Earth. This video allegedly captures one such ogre-like Nephilim commanding a false flag black op during the Ferguson riots, in which the National Guard allegedly set fires and detonated explosives in order to promote instability in the US. If this is the state of the US government, we have much to be concerned about. Number 3. Skunk Ape. What if myths of humanoid, large, sometimes hairy monsters that eat people and live in swamps are inspired by natural phenomena, like an animal? What if the ogre as it was known in France has a completely different name entirely? What if the skunk ape was an ogre of the New World? The skunk ape was first spotted in Florida in the 1960s, but it wasn't until 2000 that we had photographic evidence. The name of the skunk ape comes from its ape-like appearance and horrible smell. Some have claimed that the Mayaka photos, named after a nearby river, clearly show an orangutan-like animal. Orangutans have been reported as being cannibals given the right circumstances, and other apes have killed and eaten humans. It seems possible that ogres might in fact be, like Bigfoot, an undiscovered species of ape in Europe. Number 2. Maurice Tillet. Oftentimes, anthropoid creatures in mythology are simply based on real people. Some historians believe that the ancient tale of the Cyclops might reflect a person with the disease cyclopia. Could it be possible that myths about ogres were inspired by real people who lived in the past, before our understanding of medical science was what it is today? Maurice Tillet was a French wrestler and contemporary of other greatest massive person, Andre the Giant. It's believed that, like Andre the Giant, Tillet was born with a disorder that caused his skull to grow into its distinct massive shape. If you saw a giant man like that in the 4th century, would you assume he was a human? Number 1. Ogre seen during World War II. According to Norwegian and Norse mythology, mountain trolls were giant, humanoid-like creatures that consumed humans. Sound familiar? During World War II, Germany occupied Norway. It was there that they allegedly captured this photo of a giant Norwegian mountain troll. In one photo, the tank can be seen preparing to fire on the massive troll, perhaps in defense of its countrymen. And there, you have 5 ogres caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Most people remember Tarzan the Ape Man from old movies as a funny, yodeling man-beast who could swim like Michael Phelps. Even though the original novel is about an innocent savage trying to get along in civilized society, the character's image has turned into a cartoon over the years. But YouTube is filled with many so-called real-life Tarzan sightings, not of the original Tarzan, but of tribesmen and boys who possess the character's incredible jungle skills. Here's 5 of the most impressive and intriguing Tarzans on the web. Let's begin. Number 5. Tropical Trunk Trot. This Tarzan appears to be from South America. He doesn't have the long hair or muscular shirtless look of the ape man, but he's half a tree-climbing primate all the same. Rather than clawing his way up as American woodsmen do, this young fellow free runs into a massive tropical tree at an incredible rate of speed. In front of an adoring crowd, the athlete almost appears chimpanzee-like with his grace and fluidity getting up and down the highest reaches of the gigantic woven trunk. And we know the clip wasn't cleverly sped up in editing because we can hear the shouting and cheering voices at normal speed. Number 4. Swift Sasa. In one of the more impressive demo clips on YouTube, self-proclaimed real-life Tarzan Sevo Sasa performs a little acrobatic fight action against some unfriendly baddies. But then he jumps into a tropical river, which is where the fun really begins. From running through a shoreline forest, Sasa shows off incredible agility and confidence while performing several impressive maneuvers at top speed. But you'll notice he mostly just floats up to the shore. Remember, to be a genuine Tarzan, you have to swim like Michael Phelps, or at least like Johnny Weissmuller. That's why Sasa only takes number 4 on our list. Number 3. 2 out of 4 ain't bad. This Tarzan character has 2 things going for him. The classic ape man look of long hair and shirtless perfection, though there's no body waxing in the feral jungle, and an amazing kinship with animals. He shows off several adorable feline pets who just happen to be giant, ferocious tigers. But the big cats seem to have a real affection for this Lord of the Tropics, and we doubt he would ever need any draconian circus keeper tactics or cages to keep them under control. Still, there's no footage of this guy swimming or climbing through the jungle, so unless there's some serious skills not shown in the demo clip, he's only halfway home in creating a true Tarzan persona. Number 2. The Genuine Article. Ho Van Long became a minor YouTube sensation when documentary footage was uploaded of his true Tarzan-like existence. Fleeing into the Vietnam woods with his father when their home was bombed during the Vietnam War, Ho spent 40 years living in the jungle. He and his father fashioned tools out of wood, clothes out of bark, and surprisingly efficient shelter among an abundance of tropical fruit and game. In this clip, you can see the completely savage Ho being handed a mirror upon finally returning to civilization. Having only seen watery versions of his own face, he looks at his reflection as if it were almost alien to him. Number 1. Why's Not Johnny? When the original filmmakers of Tarzan the Ape Man were looking for a star to play the all-important role, Hollywood leading men just wouldn't do. Those who were good woodsmen didn't have the look, and those who had the look often couldn't climb or swim a stroke. So, the producers hired Olympic swimmer Johnny Weissmuller, which was a stroke of genius. Weissmuller turned out to be a solid performer and even helped invent the famous Tarzan yell. But Johnny shined in the water most of all. The athlete turned actor perfected a crawling freestyle stroke that looked absolutely amazing when sped up on screen, and an elegant butterfly technique that helped make love scenes with Maureen O'Sullivan romantic, despite Tarzan's total lack of clever pickup lines. And there, you have 5 Tarzan sightings caught on camera and spotted in real life. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like or share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe down below to get notified almost every single day with new videos from Top 5's finest. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Angels are majestic beings, heralded as messengers of God. They do have a dark side, especially back in the Old Testament days, but seem to be, more often than not, a sign of good things to come. These 5 angels caught on camera flying and spotted in real life are sure to inspire you, whatever you believe, although some are a little suspect. We're not about to make those decisions for you and will instead let you decide for yourself in today's countdown. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Angel saves biker. This video is a good one for the critics, and it's pretty impressive. It shows a quiet street in the middle of the night with a little bit of traffic. At first, everything seems to be normal, until a bike stalls in front of a speeding truck. With no time to hit the brakes, the truck isn't able to stop in time, and the guy on the bike is straddled atop a heavy machine, unable to get out of the way. It looks like disaster's about to strike as the truck steadily bears down on the biker, who sits helpless, watching his death approach. Suddenly, a blue streak that looks a little like lightning bursts across the intersection, enveloping the hapless biker in a fine mist. The second disaster's about to strike, the mystery streak flashes brilliantly. At that same instant, the biker reappears on the far side of the road, completely in the clear. Next to him is what looks like a man who appeared after he seemingly saved the biker's life. Quite a brilliant display, and not a bad show for a guardian angel. The truck finally stops at this point, with the driver peeling around to the back to see what kind of damage he just inflicted. He's amazed to see nobody there, and looks over to see the biker brushing himself off with the new guy patting him on the back, seemingly jokingly. It's quite the display, and could possibly make believers out of anyone watching it. Then again, it could be an impressive video put on by a group of students or